I don't know if we will get this information on Friday or if we'll get it next week or we'll ever get it. But on Friday, we talked about this before, Ben Simmons is owed $8.25 million as part of his contract.
WHB Kansas City. Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
The Kansas City Chiefs finally got themselves a nice, comfortable, late-game blowout victory that frankly wasn't even as close as the final score indicated. But do you feel any better about the things that you were maybe already worried about? That's my question for you here today on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. My name is Joshua Brisco, and I am very, very, very glad to be here with you today. We can cover some of this momentarily, or I can make it real quick off the top of the show, but thanks to Jason Anderson for filling in the big chair here last week. I was in the hospital. I am doing a whole lot better now. Very, very glad to be back here. And again, Chiefs doing a whole lot better as well. We'll talk more about sort of my whole absence, or if you want to hear about it, I talked to Lebo about it a little bit. It's up on the Almost Entirely Sports podcast feed. I'll save you the very, very long explanation, but just so we don't have to sort through anything the rest of the show here today. I have type 1 diabetes, and I didn't know that, and I found out about it as my body was trying to kill me. But I feel absolutely amazing right now in the grand scheme of things, and all of my issues that ended up putting me in the hospital and keeping me there for a little while could have been a whole lot worse, like infinitely worse. I can deal with diabetes. That'll be something I'll figure out for the, for my personal future. But I feel a whole lot better, and thank you to everybody who has reached out over the course of these last couple of weeks to check in on me, my family, friends, and all of that. So I am very, very glad to be back, feeling a billion times better than I was at this point doing the show after the Ravens game, and feel better than I did even getting to watch the Chiefs-Chargers game at home last week. Again, very glad to be here. Very, very appreciative of everyone who's reached out over the last couple of weeks, and feeling very good. So thank you to everyone for that. And again, feeling better because of the way this game went ultimately for the Chiefs. But I'm kind of two minds a little bit in terms of this game here today. On one hand, the offense has all of its firepower that it's always had. The offensive line in the running game today was dominant against a bad Eagles run defense, and that's what you should be able to do. The Chiefs ended up being able over the course of this game to run for 6.3 yards per carry. If you've listened to this show at all ever, you know that I think they should take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands as infrequently as is reasonably possible. They averaged 9 yards per pass attempt in this game, so still better to throw the ball than to run it, generally speaking. But they got to a point where you have to, eventually, a defense has to stop the run on some level. If you're able to run it for 6, 7, 8 yards per carry. If you're running it for 3 or 4 yards per carry, let teams do that all day long. Ultimately, you'll be fine. But in the Chiefs-specific situation here today, they were able to run the ball successfully against a bad run defense, which is, again, at the very least, when you want to be able to do it successfully, make them stop you, make them change how they're playing you defensively. Travis Kelce was quiet in this game, but you got a hat trick from Tyreek Hill, a 3-touchdown game after having 2 very quiet games in a row. And that's probably going to change week to week, right? Where the Browns, with the exception of one giant play, keyed in on Tyreek Hill pretty well. The Ravens said, beat us some other way. We're not going to let you beat us 60 yards at a time with Tyreek Hill. And then the Chargers did a good job of that as well in terms of saying, find another way to beat us. We're gonna handle Tyreek Hill. And the Eagles today did not play that way. You saw Tyreek Hill one-on-one with Steven Nelson in the red zone. You saw Tyreek Hill have one of those explosive games, 11 receptions, 186 yards, 3 touchdowns, the 44-yard bomb. We're going to see the Chiefs offense look like the Chiefs offense in different ways and for different reasons over the course of the year. Again, you get a quiet 4 for 23 from Travis Kelce, doesn't even get a touchdown. Jody Fortson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire both catch touchdowns along with the 3 for Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce is going to have his huge games. He's going to continue to catch touchdowns. A lot of 2 of those were, underhanded, gimmicky kind of little things that are a part of this offense in a way that I'm happy for. I say gimmicky, not as a pejorative. I think it's kind of fun that that's a part of this Chiefs offense. But so that's all kind of on one side of things here, where the Chiefs offense putting up a 40-burger is wonderful. Tyreek Hill being huge and explosive in this game, fabulous. The pass protection in this game was not ideal, but it was functional, and that's going to continue to be a work in progress. But, again, overall, just kind of big picture here, it's always fun to watch Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill connect for 3 touchdowns, to see them score 42 points, to see them run the ball really effectively, the entire running game looking good, even some stuff with McCole Hardman. Happy to see all of that. That's one side. But here's the part of that side for me. I wasn't worried about the Chiefs' offense, not in any meaningful way. I think it would have been foolish to say that they were going to average 3 or 4 turnovers a game, even averaging 2. And again, Mahomes had the interception that was not great. He was forcing it, got his arm hit, picked off, just, no excuses to be made there. That's not a good choice. It wasn't a good throw. It happens. But I'm not worried about that being a long-term issue for this team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire does not have a long history of fumbling. Tyreek Hill does not have a long history of fumbling. That's not, Patrick Mahomes is not reckless. He had a couple of games with some very bad interception luck where, Marcus Kemp didn't help him out any against the Chargers. So I'm very, very, very happy to see that today. But I also wasn't worried about it. So how much can that move the needle, really, right? Defensively, I'm just still not sure what to do about it. Willie Gay Jr. would have been eligible to return for this game. He is not yet. Hopefully he's back next week, I guess. But they can't tackle. They have been missing tackles all season. They've been out of position. And maybe the biggest thing is something that I wanted to make sure that I wasn't imagining. Just because there's so much we don't know of what goes into a play call, what's being said in a huddle, what goes into a game plan. But it's clear at this point. The defense is out of its mind, out of position, and out of luck simultaneously all the time. This is something that a friend of Sports Radio 810 and of the Kansas City Star, Sam Mellinger, tweeted out earlier that I thought was really interesting and a good angle on it. I'm going to try to quote him precisely here. He tweeted, "This defense is a disorganized mess. Sometimes it's before the snap, sometimes it's after, sometimes it's both." And here's the part of that bothers me. This isn't a super young defense. This isn't even the defense what it could look like next year. Let's say next year you go nuclear and you say they cut Anthony Hitchens and put Nick Bolton in the middle of the defense. They don't extend Tyrann Mathieu and the back of the defense is like Juan Thornhill and maybe a rookie first or second round draft pick. Even then, you'd be going into year 4 with Spags, right? But you can say, well, you know what? Super young defense, all of that. But the thing that's confusing and frustrating to me, and I don't want to, I want to enjoy the fun of the offense in this show because it was nice to see today. It's just, I really enjoy that version of the Chiefs more than anything. But this is the third year of Steve Spagnuolo in Kansas City, and they have veteran leaders who have been here the entire time at every depth of the defense. A couple of weeks ago, whenever, I think it was after week one, between week one and week two, I asked Spags specifically about the impact of Tyrann Mathieu, because he obviously didn't play week one because of the COVID protocol. And I said, hey, have you coached anyone in your career that makes as big of an impact for your entire unit as a whole as is the case with Tyrann Mathieu? And he mentioned somebody from New York who's currently slipping my mind. And he said, well, also Hitch is kind of that guy here. Gets everybody lined up, and Hitch and Mathieu both make everybody else better. And I'm not even disagreeing with that. I think logically it makes 100% total sense. But can it be true whenever the defense looks exactly this kind of disorganized? I don't know. I don't know if Tyrann Mathieu and Anthony Hitchens can be two of the most impactful on-field organizers of a defense that Spags has ever coached, and that things can look as bad as they have here this season in terms of the disorganization. We looked at that in week one and went, man, hopefully, whenever Mathieu gets back, he'll fix all this. And he came back and then had a couple of great plays, obviously, against the Ravens, but then the Chiefs still have had these same problems defensively. And I'm not saying this lands on Hitchens or lands on Mathieu or even lands on Spags. I think it lands on a little bit of everybody. You also have Chris Jones on the front, and it's different because he's not helping anybody behind him, right? Because he's got his back to them. I mean, you're on the defensive line. We'll come back around to Jones and the pass rush in general in a minute. But it's hard for me to hear Spags say all of that and then to not end up with some really severe questions about what this defense is supposed to be. Also, friend of the show, station, etc., Seth Kaiser of the Chief in the North newsletter made this point in response to my tweet about this, saying that this is sort of out of character for Spags' defenses in Kansas City to this point. They were pretty disciplined the last couple of years. They weren't always super talented. The talent and money largely had gotten spent on the offensive side, with some big ticket exceptions defensively, obviously. But you could at least not only would you expect them to be disciplined, you would expect that discipline to help cover up some of their lackings. And right now, you've got total chaos at the point of the snap on a regular basis, multiple times a game. And I just don't know how you solve that. Because here's the other, if I've got my head on straight, they didn't lose any defensive coordinators last year. Total continuity there from last year to this year. Britt Reid might have been. I think Britt Reid was on the defensive side. So I think you got one there, actually. Quick self-correction. But nobody got poached for another job or anything, right? It's not like you had a whole bunch of turnover in the staff. You didn't have a whole bunch of turnover in personnel either. It's not full run it back mode, but if you're trotting Dan Sorensen out there to be your number 2 safety, and it's holding Juan Thornhill off the field, and he's leading the NFL in missed tackles, and the defense is not lined up right at any given point, then why is he there? Or what is going wrong? I think you can spread some of that blame around all over the place, right? part of the thing, and maybe Spags is going to have to go back to the drawing board some this year. I'm not sure. Because one of the things about him getting to town that Spags had the advantage over Bob Sutton was that Spags has a simpler install, is what we all kind of heard, and that Sutton was kind of convoluted. Maybe it's gotten too complicated. Maybe Spags has everything set in on the foundational level, and the next level of stuff is making things too complicated. I don't know. That's a guess at this point. But just defensively, I mean, almost nothing is working right. The coverage hasn't been very good, and the corners have been hurt. The pass rush has been a mess, and Frank Clark has been absent. The linebackers have been bad, with Willie Gay also being injured. You missed Tyrann Mathieu in week 1, and there's just disorganization back there all the time, or at least disorganization in front of those guys. The defense is not particularly fast, physical. They're not where they're supposed to be, not particularly disciplined, not very good in the red zone, although better today, which is an improvement against a worse offense than they faced either time through the first 3 weeks, but still better. And also, I just don't know what they do well. That's the other thing. Where when you have Frank Clark and Chris Jones, the idea is that you're spending a bleep ton of money to have a great pass rush that makes everything else better. Makes everyone else look better. Makes every unit actually better. But they don't have a place to hang their hat defensively. If you have a great position group, you can use it to cover up some of your other weaknesses. And they just don't seem to have it anywhere. And so I'm left a little bit cold after a double-digit win that was, again, should have been even more than that because that Eagles garbage time score at the end. But I'm finding myself more worried about the defense than I am excited about the offense, and that's not a place that I want to be. I don't like that's true, but it is right now. And that's sort of the dance here. I'll be interested to hear kind of how people are feeling about this game. We'll get to a bunch of live audio very, very soon. Hopefully we'll hear from everybody from the Chiefs side of stuff, and we'll get there when we get there. We'll also take some calls. If you want to get in touch with the show over any variety of our video feeds, you can watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube channels. You can call in here. You can tweet me at JB Brisco. You can tweet at Sports Radio 810 as well. Beards McFly running the board. Rudy Salazar roaming around producing the effort. It is all brought to you, by the way, by Missouri Lottery. The Missouri Lottery and Hy-Vee want to send you and a guest to Denver to watch the Chiefs take on the Broncos. Purchase a $2 Missouri Lottery Powerball ticket at participating Hy-Vee grocery and gas locations to get your chance to win. The Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show is also brought to you by our friends at CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. So we'll get to some of that in a little bit. Beards, any feel right now on the side of things from is the Chiefs stream up? Is somebody streaming somewhere? We've got any visuals on anybody? Andy Reid got his 100th win with two franchises against his old franchise. That's kind of fun.
Nothing yet.
Okay, good to know. We can. Why don't we go ahead and take a few calls then while we're at it, since we're gonna tread a little water until the audio starts flowing down the pipeline. We'll open it up with Ryan. Ryan, how you feeling about the game?
Hey, yeah. Hey, why are you so down on them?
I don't feel like I'm down. I'm worried about the defense. I said I don't want to be here. I just said I admitted I am more worried about the defense than I am excited about the offense today. I don't like that.
That's just my
it's the Eagles.
Hey, friendly opinion. I'm not a doctor. This is my friendly opinion.
I've had about enough of the doctors. I love them. They've been helpful, but I'm glad I don't need to talk to any more today, right?
Hey, I like that too. Exactly. Hey, yes. That was the better one. But no, hey, what I'm going to say is, with the right side being all rookies,
mm-hmm.
It's going to take time.
Yep.
But it looks like it's going right along the schedule. I mean, honestly, I like seeing them go on the road today and manhandle people. I mean, it was Kelsey versus Kelsey. It's a big one.
Yep.
I mean, what do you think they're talking about in the locker room? I mean, honestly, who won?
Mm-hmm.
our Kelsey.
Yep.
No, but the defense, I am worried about Matthew, where is he just worried about money now? Because there is a human element to it too. Like, why? I'm not saying he's done anything wrong. It doesn't seem like he's got that same hunger. And then, like, when we talk about Daniel Sorensen, he shouldn't be our starting safety, but he is. So that says a lot. I do like him. You know, he's smart enough to be able to hold it down for a second. But we need somebody. I mean, Thornhill. What is up with that on the back end?
Yeah.
But I do think we're going to have a hard time with the defense this year. So anyway, other than that, we got Mahomes.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
Tyreek. He reminds me of like Bo Jackson and like Barry Sanders put together, or Dante Hall put together. He's like that dude. Thank you for being on our team.
Yes,
I love it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Positivity. Quit being bad about him, dude. I mean, what the heck?
I feel like I'm being very. Here's why I'm worried, Ryan. Here's what I'll tell you.
You got to show it too.
Do you know what the game is next week for the Chiefs? Do you know who they play next week?
Josh Allen.
Next week.
I'll tell you a good story about him too. You know, I tell you, I talked to somebody this week. It was a client of mine that has their neighbors of Josh Allen, and like how good of a person he is. Like last year they were talking about Halloween and how he was like giving out candy bars and stuff like that, and he was playing Madden at the time and couldn't be at the door whenever. So we have a lot to do here because we have our quarterback, but I love it because you know what? This is what it makes about it. Here, I just think we're getting too used to Mahomes always just coming through.
Yes,
I
agree.
And we are young, and the line's going to be good. Hey, let other people talk. Hey, bye. Hey, Chiefs, baby.
Thank you, Ryan. I agree. No, I agree that we're all a little bit numb to the Chiefs can put up 40 whenever. I also just watched this defense these 4 weeks, and I've seen this one here today. And it was the Texans, but the Bills won 40-0 today. And that is Sunday Night Football next week. Is it Sunday? It's Sunday night, right? I don't know. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Is it a Sunday? I know it's prime time. I think it's Sunday Night Football. And I can't help but let my eye drift a little bit. That's all. Yeah, it is. It's next Sunday night. Oh, man, we're going to go Brady Belichick and then get Chiefs Bills. Oh, next week's going to be so much fun. Oh, that's so good. Or it'll be terrifying because the defense right now is a little bit spooky. Let's go to Gary next. Gary, what's up, man?
Not much, Jess. Glad you're back on the air. Glad you're doing better.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, you've pretty much touched on the offense. Like I said, really not a problem with the offense. They're going to do what they do. You can slow them, but you can hope to stop them, but you're only going to contain them. You're not going to slow the roll. But on the other side of the ball, Dan Sorensen and Mike Hughes were bailed out on a couple flags that could have resulted in touchdowns. So they were bailed out. So let's not forget that.
Yep.
Sorensen had a horrible day in coverage. Receivers, and it's been like this all, receivers are just running wide open. When's the last time one of our DBs had a pass breakup? And I'm not talking about tackling the receiver in the end zone like the players. I'm talking about getting in there, getting a hand, and just batting that ball away. We don't see that with these guys.
Yeah.
And let's not forget when Spagnuolo was hired, it was a backdoor hire. It was a little blip in the press release. There was no press conference because Andy didn't want to hear about everybody hiring his buddy. But this guy also coordinated one of the worst statistical defenses in history in 15 with the Saints. So he's got a reputation, so it is following him. And I think at the end of the season, if Andy's not willing to make that change, maybe Clark needs to step in and tell him, we're going to make the change for you and I would take him. And as far as Sam Madison goes, is there a guy that has a worse job in the league? Because what they're doing at corner is they're dumpster diving in the dog parks hoping to just find a piece of gold. And it's not working. Mike Hughes, he's horrible. And if anybody ever goes to the press conferences, would they ask Spagnuolo where he put his last 2 game balls he received from John Harbaugh and Brandon Staley? I'd appreciate it. I'll hang up and listen. Great show, Josh. Appreciate
it, Gary. Yeah, so here's the thing with Spags. And obviously, look, they're going to get – if you make a change like that, you're going to set yourself behind the sticks, to mix my metaphors a little bit. I don't expect anything to happen with Spags even after this season, presuming that it's not, this every week. They cannot continue to look this bad, and that I think is relatively It's relatively obvious. I mean, in terms of like what can be allowed, in terms of what do you have to shake up a job. I think the point on Sam Madison is a good one, that he has done an excellent job with not a very good job handed to him in terms of the guys that he's been working with here. But that's maybe the biggest feather in the cap of Spags and this staff, is that they've gotten competence out of that position despite not having really anything invested into it. And so that's a little bit of a moving target for me. I think that they're probably a lot farther away from doing anything dramatic than you would think as of 4 weeks into a season. If you think back to Bob Sutton, they waited a whole year too late on Sutton, though, and that ultimately, I think, probably cost them a Super Bowl. But here's the thing. I could say that because Spags came in, and with the overhaul that they made defensively, they turned into a Super Bowl-capable defense. Not that they were going to be the reason the Chiefs won it, obviously, and they weren't. But they were able to win one and then get back there again with a defense that played competent football. So I have to imagine that there's going to be a lot of work done this week, that maybe there's some stripping back if things have gotten perhaps too complicated. Which is, again, for me, the closest that I can reasonably get to an explanation of what it is that is at play here. Because it just doesn't make sense to say that this defense that is very, 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 very similar to last year's coaches, players, scheme looks this much worse. And, they went up against 3 really good offenses and 3 really good quarterbacks over the first 3 weeks of the season. I like Jalen Hurts. I expected the Eagles to score plenty of points here, but you can tell with your eyes. You don't have to try to come up with a way to twist yourself into a pretzel around the idea of figuring out how this actually isn't that bad, because actually Jalen Hurts is better than you think. We all saw this defense, and it's had a really hard time getting a stop whenever the Chiefs need one. Obviously, they could be 4-0. They could be 1-3 pretty easily. This could have gone any number of directions, and ultimately being 500 doesn't feel too terrible at this point in the grand scheme of things because of how these 4 weeks went and what we've seen from this defense. But it's not good. It's not good enough right now. Beards, you're staring at the board in a way that makes me think we might be a second away from some audio, so I don't want to go to another call if you think we might be close.
No, Andy Reid just said something funny, and then he laughed.
Oh, okay, so he's still rolling, and so we should
Yes.
take another call. Let's do that. Let's at least get Butch in here. Butch, what's on your mind?
Gentlemen, how about those Chiefs?
How about them?
They won. You know what? I'm not going to say we've got a couple points here, obviously. I sound subdued because there's no reason to be overly excited. We knew this was going to be a win. This had to be a win. And we got it. It's not a win that feels like a loss, but it's a win that doesn't feel, how did Alan Greenspan say when housing values were increasing at an unusual rate before the market crash? Irrational exuberance? A little bit of irrational exuberance with the Kansas City Chiefs right now, because we can see where this is going to come to a head here pretty soon. On third down, here's the difference that I see. Maybe you can speak of this as well. Years past, when the defense got better, on third down, or on second down, we got that one stop we needed because we had a great athlete out there. We had a player who could take a good play and make it a great play, like a young Juan Thornhill, like a guy like Derrick Johnson. They would make it. And then on third down, you had your guys. Somebody was coming for you. Justin Houston's going to make life miserable for you. Eric Berry's going to make life miserable for you. Somebody was going to make a play. That doesn't happen with this defense.
Yeah.
They have no identity. There's nothing. There's a bunch of good guys who can do good things. Who are the great? Maybe you can talk about this. Who are the great players that can make a great play for you? Not just a good play, not just a substantial play. Great play for you when you really need it. Because here on, what is it, Sunday against Buffalo? You're going to need a couple of them to win.
Butch, I think that's a great call. I think that's a great point. Appreciate it. Willie Gay could come back soon, and he has the physicality to be that guy. He has the physical tools, the speed to be one of those guys in the middle of that defense. But in terms of the pass rush, I mean, Frank Clark is supposed to be that guy. We haven't seen him in a while now, which, at this point, it's wake me up whenever Frank Clark does make an impact. I'm not going to assume that he will. I'll be happily surprised or pleasantly just tickled whenever he does. Chris Jones also, and this is going to be a check-in with Seth in a couple days thing after he gets a look at the tape, because I'm curious to see. There have been a couple times where Jones has made some of a mess in the backfield, but you really need somebody else to clean it up. I think Mike Dana was the beneficiary of that at least once today. But you also would like to see Chris Jones have some single-handed dominance. And I have not seen that from him with all of the hype that we gave him coming into this year and the positional shift and all of that. I thought he was a sneaky Defensive Player of the Year candidate. And right now it seems like that experiment is at least kind of stalling out. And so I think that you have to look at Willie Gay as a guy that will be coming back in that you hope can be that guy. I don't know if Tyrann Mathieu ended up with symptoms from COVID. I don't know if he's physically 100%. I would be curious to hear about that shortly. Maybe, I don't know if he'll speak today, if we'll hear from him today or anything. We'll hear from Clyde Edwards-Helaire momentarily. Back-to-back 100-yard games. Also, a stat here from Adam Teicher. 4th game in NFL history with no punts. Here's the Chiefs running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I mean, I went in and practiced and went in every single day like I do every single week and did the same things that I do week in and week out. So it's really just pretty much staying with your preparation and then when not panicking when everything goes south for you. So I just kind of stayed in my lane and did the things that I do week in and week out and handle business this week. I feel like when any of our numbers are called on the offense, we all come out and perform. It's just one of those things that we know and we understand as an individual group and different guys on the offense. Everybody's going to have their games. Everybody's going to have like their ups. And when your number called, you go and perform. And it's just that simple. I never just look down upon myself as far as a performance. If I go out and only get a couple carries, it's whatever I had to do that week, I was doing whatever the team needed. It's not just like a point fingers thing for me. So I go out and handle my job and do what I'm supposed to do.
How much fun do you guys have when you're working on those red zone plays and pass incorporating the shovel pass? Just what does that do for everyone when you hear the play call in the huddle and what's most fun about those type of plays?
Personally, for me, when they call it in the huddle, it's just one of those things you really can't show the excitement from inside the huddle. It's just like, just got to play the cool and collected role. And I'm pretty sure just before that play, nobody can say, oh, well, Clyde was looking like he was about to get the ball on this play. It's just I go out there and do what I do week in and week out. I know y'all, it's the same things over and over again, but that's just who I am as a person. I go in and do what I'm asked to do, and the rest is, in God's hands. Yeah, it played a lot, especially for me. I heard it week in and week out, probably about 100 times, no pun intended. But it was just one of those things that was in the back of my head, just really doing it for somebody who gave me an opportunity and never looked down upon me. Even last week, the whole KC, everybody just wanted to kind of set me on fire. Even the week before that, and then you just go in and talk to Coach Reid, like, bro, just chill, go out there and do your thing. Like, it's not, the world's ending just because of a play happened. He was like, man, you doing what we asked you to do as far as execution. You're a football player, you're a human, and mistakes are going to happen. But obviously, everybody be on the coattail as soon as you do something good. So I just kind of roll and still be that same person. So.
With history coaching here, obviously it has a little twist to it for you guys to have that happen here.
Oh yeah, and I even had like a little sweatshirt. I didn't wear it in here, but it was like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air sweatshirt. I thought it was pretty cool. So, it's just kind of those things. Like, it's all an emotional game, and just having those things and just knowing. No coach has ever done that before, and being able to come in and help him get that accomplished was one of those things that was on my mind.
What was said about that in the locker room?
Nothing. But as far as the players, we wasn't going like, oh yeah, we got to go get coach's 100th win. It was, we got to go get a win. It wasn't pinpointed, but everybody knew. It's not like the whole world didn't know that if we was going for his 100th win and we were playing in Philly, like that's the obvious statement. But the more obvious thing was we lost the last 2 games and we need to get a win. So that's just what it was. I would say any win is a confidence boost. And if you think otherwise and you're not a professional athlete and or competitive, just the competitive nature. I can't stand next to a guy who can, drop 2 games and then come out in the last game and hope, not thinking that we should go out and get a W or or obviously dominate the game. So that was just our mindset coming in, and we obviously did it.
Clyde, when it comes, you mentioned like people in Kansas City are about to set you on fire. So you literally heard everything. Is that motivating you internally? Like, all right, I'm going to show. All right, watch this on Sunday. Is that the mentality?
Man, I've been dealing with it since I was about 7 years old, 8 years since I've been playing ball. And it's more publicly seen as far as now, but I'll let everybody else kind of waste their time with that while I go to work. You can say whatever comments, do all the unnecessary things, but I still gotta go, do my job, execute, go in the building, and keep moving. I never dwell on some things in the past as far as the game. This game is about. I'm not gonna say short-term memory loss, but just being able to drop the negative things, and even if it's a positive, you can't sit there and dwell on it like, oh, I did this a couple of weeks ago, so I'm good. It's more of the next play is my opportunity to do something great. Why not?
You more guys play. Clyde, were you expecting Patrick to throw it underhanded, flip that?
I was.
Were you aware his first 3 were underhand, overhand, shovel?
What you mean first 3? Oh yeah, most. I mean. We go execute the plays, and that play specifically is something I want to say Trav and I want to say they kind of made it up during one of the little walkthrough periods. It's a special teams period. So some of the guys kind of go off on the side, and then we end up kind of making it happen, kind of playing the Tom and Jerry role. That's the name of the play, my bad. Obviously, I'm Jerry, and Tom was Trav on the play, so y'all can kind of figure it out from that point and go watch it. Oh yeah, I mean, obviously the camera doesn't lie. We getting push and we getting movement, and that's what kind of gets the run game going. And from that point, it's my job to kind of keep it rolling and give those guys that confidence boost that, obviously when we go out and do what we're supposed to do, good things come from it. And that's just what it is as far as the Chiefs and our run game.
We'll ask Danny. Go Danny.
Talk about the size of those holes. Is it personal for your offensive line?
Oh yeah. It's we go in, we have I want to say like specific run meetings and blitz meetings as far as just kind of with the running back and the O-line and running back coaches and the O-line coach. So we talk about it, and it's one of those things that we want to obviously show that we can do, and we've shown it last year, but we needed to incorporate it this year and show that obviously we can run the ball, and not just run the ball effectively. Not only did we run the ball effectively, we did it with multiple backs, and that's I feel like that's a perk. So, and that's all praise to the O-line. So, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yep.
There's Clyde Edwards-Helaire live from Philadelphia right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City, the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. The Jets just won in overtime. A missed field goal from the Tennessee Titans. Jets beat the Titans. You want to talk about an AFC team that's had some issues to start this year? Titans right there also.
Not mad about it.
No, it's funny. It's funny and good for the Jets. Some interesting stuff there from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Obviously, the real winner is that touchdown play was called Tom and Jerry. That's very good. We'll hear from Mike Dana coming up here. He had a nice game today. 2 sacks for the second-year pass rusher, and one of the guys on that pass rush that did get there. Let's hear from Mike Dana.
Man, a lot of things that happen on game day, happens throughout the week during practice, and it starts in practice. So it really comes from the preparation, then going out on game day and executing.
That red zone defense, obviously the Eagles had a couple things on their end. I was improved
Mm.
from the past couple of weeks to today?
You know, in the red zone, we let about 2 field goals, I think. Then give up a touchdown every single time they went down there. But we've been working at it, man. It's been a point of emphasis, to us, and it really just go from how we start in practice, and we came out here and executed. When it came down to red zone.
Mike, you guys have been taking as a defense as a whole. You guys have been taking the way that you guys have been playing, as taking it personal. How do you build off that? Is this one of those games that you can use as a?
Oh yeah, you just keep on stacking them. Defense, we're a family unit. We're a unit. We stick together. This was a big win for us, and we got to keep on stacking the days and get the ball rolling.
Mike, Spags and some of the guys talked about after the Chargers game, there was some communication issues, right, with the substitutions and tempo and stuff. Where do you guys think you were today?
We got better, but there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. So we're going to keep on, hitting the nail on the head and, getting our communication down until we got it down perfect, keep working at it and improving at it.
Frank Weeks, who started now for Frank Clark, how much has he been in your ear trying to offer some motivation or inspiration to start?
Yeah, Frank, great guy, man. He's a mentor. He's a big brother to me. As soon as I got there, he took me in and, always gave me game, increasing my value as a football player, learning from pass rushing, from rundowns to dropping back, He was there for me a lot,
Mike, I know each game you focus on just the one game, right? But with Buffalo coming up, is that one that you maybe some of the guys have been in the back of your mind just sort of
we're looking forward to it. It's Sunday night, so never take for granted Sunday night football. So we're looking forward to the matchup, and we're going to get ready for them.
Mike, are teams doing things that are giving the defense struggling or making you all struggle? I know you're last in the league statistically. What are these teams doing to you that's making it so hard for them?
Well, teams game plan throughout the week, man. All we can do is just come out here and do what we're coached to do, execute the things we practice throughout the week. So, teams game plan us, and all we can do is, just contain them and, just continue to keep going, no matter what, whether they game plan us or not, That can't stop us. We shouldn't let that stop us.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Appreciate
Thank you, bro.
There's Mike Dana, Chiefs second-year pass rusher, and that makes probably marks about the halfway point here of our locker room report right here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top-shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
We'll take a break here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Also, Rudy just told me this. I think this started last week, but I wasn't here for it. Hello to everyone listening on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM down there in Wichita. Got lots of family still in Wichita area, so hopefully if anybody down there is tuned in, you can listen there. And we'll be on in Wichita until 5. We'll probably continue a little bit beyond that, but you can also always listen no matter where you are on the Sports Radio 810 app or at 810WHB.com. And we even podcast this sucker up on 810WHB.com and in the app as well. Lots of ways that you can follow along. And none of it would be possible without our friends at Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays. And brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your % off. That is a 42% off all day tomorrow at CBD American Shaman. 42% off all day tomorrow at CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Hey, Fight fans, it's Stephen St. John, and I want you to join me Saturday, October 9th for Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 for the heavyweight championship of the world. I'm hosting a heavyweight watch party at the Social Club in Overland Park. Doors open at 6 and the pay-per-view starts at 8 o'clock. Cover is only $10 at the door. You can also reserve one of the best tables in the house by emailing thesocialclub@caseyhops.com. Be there.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy, Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Your money management is now manageable. With an account from Central Bank, you'll have all the tools and technology you need to move, manage, and maximize your money the way you want, when you want. And you have the perk of local branches right in your community when you need some one-on-one time. Because we do banking better. Open your account online or in person at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. Strong roots. Endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
Robert Brogdon Buick GMC is proud to be family-owned, serving the Kansas City area for over 25 years. At Brogdon, you'll always find incredible incentives like 0% for 72 months on many models, including the new 2021 Buick Enclave and Envision or GMC Terrain. And they don't just sell cars, they buy them too. Even if you don't trade your vehicle to Brogdon, they'll still buy yours. Visit the #1 General Motors dealership in Kansas on I-35 in Santa Fe and Olathe or at robertbrogdon.com. Must qualify and finance through GMF for special APR.
Hi, this is Tamara Day, designer and host of HGTV's Bargain Mansions and owner of Growing Days. But most importantly, lover of all things KC. Did you know right here in Kansas City we have hundreds of homeless children who don't have a place to call home, no bed, no new school supplies, only fear and hopelessness. Thankfully, there's a solution I'm proud to support. Community Link has ended and prevented homelessness for thousands in our community for over 3 decades. If you'd like to help, call 816-595-5553.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics, 412-6299.
Hill shifts out of the backfield, 10 plays on the drive, 8 of them runs. Mahomes swings it, touchdown! A laser beam to Tyreek Hill, and the gymnastics move to top it off.
That right there is our sweet play of the game, brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. It's pie season at Andy's. Be sure to try their famous pumpkin pie concrete or apple pie sundae this fall. A perfect post-game stop or anytime stop. Andy's Frozen Custard. I would demolish some Andy's Frozen Custard right now in a way that would make Cookie Monster look well-mannered. I would eat it with my hands. I would make a terrible mess. and I would enjoy every second of it. Thank you to our friends over at Andy's Frozen Custard for being on board the postgame show with us this year. And I got to be honest. My only disappointment is that I am, in this chair doing this job for a while. It's going to be a little bit before I can go indulge and follow up. I mean, are you kidding me? Like the pumpkin pie concrete. We should pave the roads with pumpkin pie concrete. The world would be a better, warmer place. I guess it would be a colder place, but it would be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place. Beards, let me know when we can get to Tyreek Hill whenever he is available for us. We'll get to him here in just a second. A 3-touchdown day for the Chiefs' star wide receiver. I am Joshua Brisco, by the way, here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Beards McFly running the show. Rudy Salazar running around. It's all brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. All right, so Tyreek Hill, last time I was here back in week 2, wanted to get us all in trouble. So we're currently making sure that we're all good on the Tyreek Hill, sort of making sure we're nothing more than PG-13 front, which he was not.
No, not even PG-13, because in PG-13 movies, you're allowed one use of the F word.
Oh, that's right.
You are allowed one use of the F word, which is not true for radio. So we're making sure.
I think we told Sterling for a while that you did get one.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I don't think he ever used it. That is not true. What Beard said is accurate. You're right. So we gotta make sure that we can get
we are getting Tyreek Hill rated G for everyone.
Well, PG.
PG's fine.
T, which rated T for teen. Because I don't want to say that we're.
That's fine.
We're not scrubbing it for content.
TV 14.
TV 14. It needs to be able to be on network television before midnight or whatever the cutoff is. So we'll get to him here in a little bit. Real quick, and you know what, Beards? You want us to can we sneak in a call real quick? Greg's been on hold the longest. Let's go to Greg before we get to Tyreek Hill. Greg, also, just to be clear, absolutely zero cursing. That is the rule Beards has informed me. What's on your mind, Greg?
You got it. Hey, Josh, I was just, I don't want to forget, I have one question about the game. Once in a while, I see someone catch a ball and then go out of bounds, and then the clock keeps running. So I'm curious if you can enlighten me on what happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, concerned about the defense because they were getting gashed and giving up big plays. But, they gave up a garbage touchdown, and the touchdown they gave up in the first half should have been called back because they turned over that ball. So, I just hope there's improvement coming for the defense, but I like the game overall.
Yeah, and I'll get you the answer on that. To my best of my knowledge, I got a little bit of a gap there, but thank you for the call, Greg, and thank you for waiting on hold to ask that and to bring that up, because I think you're right. If you missed this at the time, or to clarify what Greg mentioned there, Ben Niemann stripped the ball out. I cannot remember who it was who ended up getting down near the goal line. And the ball did come out. I thought in real time, the guy was down, but the replay after the fact, they went back and looked, and it should not have ended up being a touchdown on that next play because Niemann did knock the ball out, but nobody in the Chiefs, box up top saw it soon enough, I guess. And again, in real time, I thought he was down. But that one should have been a turnover, a red zone turnover for the defense. And so you're right to say that this could have looked better, especially if you don't allow the garbage time score, if that ruling is made accurately. I also think that the tackle from Ben Niemann there would have been at the end of a very long drive that was bend but almost break. And to this point this year, the Chiefs have bent and then broken. My concern is because, again, it is absolutely fair to say, you know what, the Chiefs' defense result-wise was not as bad in this game today as it felt at times. They gave up a ton of yards, but not a ton of points. It was too many points, but not an unstoppable number of them. My question is what's going to happen against Buffalo next week. That's whenever you get to a point of, asking some very big questions with some very questionable answers. in terms of the out of bounds thing, so I think there is a cutoff point at which this changes. But if you are, I believe that if you voluntarily step out of bounds early in the game, I know at least sub 2 minutes this changes. But the clock will continue going. But if you're like tackled out of bounds and forced out, the clock will actually stop. I believe that that's the differentiation. But I do think there is a point where that does change, at least late in the game, because you can step out of bounds and then stop it. But it's somewhere along that line there. Should we keep rolling here, Beards? Try to take these last 2 calls and then get the Tyreek Hill. I don't want to. Does that work for you? Let's do that then. Let's go ahead and go to JT. Hey, JT, good to hear from you. And what's on your mind?
Hey, man. Sitting here on hold, I had a whole bunch of what I thought were fairly humorous quips to make, but I'm not going to make any of them. I'm just going to tell you, like we used to tell people when we were overseas in the hostile areas, good job not dying out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. I did my best. That was it. Wow. He waited on hold for 30 minutes to tell me good job not dying out there. Thanks, JT. Appreciate that. Let's go to, is this Ty or TY, Beards? I assume it's, I would have only said Ty, but we just went to JT and his name isn't pronounced Jit. So let's go to Ty. Ty, thanks for waiting on hold. What's on your mind?
Hey, man. I think we're in trouble with our defense. You hit it right on the head. We don't do anything good. We don't get no pass rush. Our cornerbacks just run with the receivers. Spags scheme seem too much all of a sudden. I don't know what we're going to do. I think it's looking like 2018-19 where we just put the ball in Pat hands and try to get to 40, man.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what it feels like right now. Appreciate you waiting on hold, Ty. Appreciate you listening in for the call. Because, how can you not feel that way right now? Again, with the previous caller making the note that, like, the results of this game actually could have been a whole lot better with a well-timed challenge flag, and if the Chiefs would have taken longer to score at the end of the game or not scored at all, This game could have very easily been the Chiefs could have very easily given up 17 points. Here's what I would say on the other side of that. Nick Sirianni gave the Chiefs 3 separate gifts in this game. All those short field goals they were taking on 4th and 3, 4th and 7. I think there was a 4th and 3 again later, something else very short, down in the red zone. I'm not talking about doing this from their own 40. In the red zone, they were settling for these short field goals, and they know they're not as good as the Chiefs as a unit altogether. They know that the Chiefs brought what they were able to do offensively to the table here, which makes it absolutely inexcusable in my mind for them to end up settling for these field goals on 4th and short, 4th and manageable, whenever getting to the red zone was absolutely no problem. The Chiefs' red zone defense has been atrocious this year, and the Eagles got to the red zone and said, you know what, I don't want a 4th play. Why not? Why not? You get an extra try to score 7 points. You're, 6 plus your extra your PAT, and frankly, maybe 6 and a 2-point conversion, because you think the Chiefs' defense is going to stop a 2-yard run or let Jalen Hurts bootleg out. Let him run to the right and look for some options and know that he can tuck it and try to get upfield if he wants to. If I'm God forbid I'm the Bills right now and then I've got Josh Allen, I am planning on taking 4 plays once I get into the red zone. I'm planning on taking 4 plays more often. If the Chiefs defense can get a stop that holds you to 0 in the red zone, God bless them. And now they have to go 90-some yards, and you at least have a chance to stop that. But if you're in a position right now where you are whatever team you are, in this case, obviously, the Eagles, and you're going up against the Chiefs defense, and you go to the red zone 3 times and settle for those 3 short field goals, and they ended up having a delay of game and stuff. I think it was a illegal man downfield or something that moved it back. Really, the Eagles should have scored 3 touchdowns in the red zone there. But if you get shut down once, you're able to make it up. You can get shut down twice, and you can make up those points with 1 successful one. You say, I'm down 6 here, but I pick up my 4, and all right, I'm losing the math. That if you lose twice, it's close. You've got to know, though, that you need to hit those touchdowns regardless if you're the Philadelphia Eagles trying to win this game today. The Browns knew it. The Chargers knew it. They're both better. The Ravens know that stuff. And so the Chiefs got a gift where it could have looked even better if you, again, just challenged the forced fumble that Neiman had. But also, if the Eagles simply continue to play offense as opposed to trotting their kicker out there, this could have been a whole lot closer, a whole lot longer into the game. And to Ty's point there, it feels a little bit like 2018. Because I don't think that you should be panicking about the 2021 Kansas City Chiefs. Because I think this team as a whole is still the best team in the AFC West. And they're still the team that I would choose from the AFC if I had to back one team for a Super Bowl. However, I'm less confident than I was at the beginning of the season. I am way more worried about the defense than I was at the beginning of the season. And all of that still exists under the most important phrase that we can say, which is that the team that you root for has Patrick Mahomes. You're in good hands. They're never out of a game, and they're going to win a lot of football with Patrick Mahomes, even with the worst defense in the league. But I don't think you can win the Super Bowl with the worst defense in the league. You might even be able to win the AFC West. But not the whole thing. Not without some big plays, some big-time players, and some things that right now the Chiefs just really haven't gotten, with the exception of a couple of great moments at the very beginning of that Ravens game. Let's go back to the offensive side. Another part of the reason the Chiefs have all of this offensive power. Tyreek Hill was phenomenal today. He had a big play, obviously, against the Browns, 2 quiet games in a row, and the Chiefs' back-to-back losses. And then today, 3 touchdowns for the star Chiefs receiver. Here's Tyreek Hill speaking to the media.
Appreciate it. Second game this season that you've had 11 catches, 180-plus yards. What's it mean to you? I mean, you've had a couple games with talking about the best players. What's it mean to have another game like this, the last game to reach 24?
I don't know, man. I'm just thankful to be a part of this team. You know, I mean, I feel like each and every week, you know, I mean, people expect me to be this, be that, but I'm always be me, you know, for this team. You know, I don't care if I have, 200 yards. I don't care if I have 50, as long as we get the W. So that's me. That's my mindset each and every day. That's the way my dad taught me to play football, play for my brothers, you know.
Sorry, what do you mean by that when you say people expect you to be this?
I don't know, man. I just feel like, Twitter mainly, fantasy owners mainly, that draft me first round. So, I don't know. They got to understand it's a team game. I can't go crazy every week, you know. Sometimes Kelsey's going to go crazy. Well, Kelsey's always going to go crazy because it's Kelsey. He's the best in the game. Mo, D-Rob, guys like that. So, like I said, my job is just basically, if it's my week to be the decoy, I'll do that. I don't care, So, like I said, the way that my dad taught me to play football is, play for your brothers, play for the guy beside you, and, good things will happen for you. So.
What do you think Josh Gordon will do? How he will help when he gets in the lineup?
Oh, man, he's going to help tremendously. I feel like adding another vet like that who's played in this league, for a long time, it's crazy. So he's definitely going to add, like, another value, to this team. And I actually told him, I'm like, dude, when you played for the Browns, like, I was just graduating high school. That's crazy, right? So.
With so many short completions, Tyreek, how, fun, exciting is it to beat the Eagles in that particular manner and then beat them over the top in the game?
I guess we were just setting them up, all game. You see Coach Reid running slant after slant and then out route after out route, and then we finally, go deep. So, that's just the way Andy Reid rolls.
Did the offense feel efficient as it looked? I mean, you guys didn't have a punt. You guys 6-4 possessions. Did it feel as that efficient looked at that?
Nah, man, I feel like we still missing a step. Like a few guys running the wrong routes on plays. We not getting depth on plays. We may not be blocking the correct guy sometimes. So I feel like after this game, we're gonna go back. We're gonna watch film, and there's always things to correct. I don't care if you put up 50 points. There's always like one little thing in a play to be corrected. Whether it's myself, whether it's Kels, whether it's Pat. Like we're gonna find that something to correct.
Andy said earlier that you've gotten better at seeing, obviously, deep safeties and knowing how to manipulate it in your advantage.
Right.
Where do you feel like you've grown the most in that aspect, where you can give Andy or Patrick a sort of idea of how to beat you?
I don't know. I guess when I first came into this league, I was real blessed to have Coach Culley, David Culley, who's the head coach of the of the Houston Texans, as my receiver coach. And he always told me, the good ones, they see one safety, but the great ones, they see the whole field, like corners, the safeties, and I always try to keep that in my mind every time I line up. I always try to see what the other side, that corner's doing and both safeties doing before I line up. So sometimes if you see me walking, like I'm trying to see what's going on, so, I mean, I'm just trying to be great, man, for this team.
Couple more, guys.
Terry, when Andy was in here earlier, he said something. I think he said that you come back to the sideline with the answers, like stuff that you see on the field, kind of what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Give an example of that, like, hey, man, this might work.
Oh, yeah, I'm always like that. But, I mean, I'm a diva. I just love talking. Like, every time I come to the sideline, I'm like, Coach, we just need to go deep every play. Like, that's my mindset every play. So sometimes he hear me, sometimes he don't. So if that's what he's talking about, yeah. I'm like, Coach, we need to go deep. He's sitting. Like, let's go deep. Why not? Pat can throw 80 yards, right?
Terry, just to get a win, like the last couple of weeks, Clyde Edwards-Helaire just mentioned about how he felt like sometimes Kansas City could run the sun on fire just because the way he played.
Right.
I know that had to motivate all you guys.
Right.
Just to get a win, try to shove it.
Yeah, it definitely feels great, to just get a win. But I feel like this win right here, we are just going to continue to build off of it. Like I said, there's always things to correct, and that's what we're going to do because this team, like, we all want to be good. Like, people expect us to win each and every week, and I feel like we even, like, got, in our mind, I feel like we was also there too. Like the guys in the locker room, we was like, man, we expected to win. So that's the way we play sometimes, like we just need to do what we did today. Like, come out and just be the aggressor. So
I know you got the chance to, kind of take this win in. I know we're not going to speak to this, but what do you really thought from your son and the match?
Oh, it's going to be a fun one, man. It's going to be a fun one, man. Hopefully I can get in the end zone again. So that's always my mindset.
We'll go last about it.
You mentioned playing for your brothers. I know you have a lot of emotion for Andy, too. I wonder what it means to you to see him get his 100th win here. And just maybe if you could express what it is about him that's special to you.
It's f***ing awesome, man. Like seeing him in the locker room fired up, like after the game, like it's just surreal, man. Because as a kid, like I used to like watch TV and just see Coach Reid coaching in Philadelphia, and I used to have like dreams and like aspirations of playing in the NFL, and now I'm actually playing for, one of the greatest coaches of all time. I'm living f***ing life, baby. So I think we should end like that. Thank you.
I think we should too, and you know what? Sometimes it works out to have to, take a second to make sure you get a clean file, because everyone got to hear it, because if we would have gotten that unedited, you just wouldn't have heard the last 30 seconds, and we might not have caught that second one. The first one you can always get, pretty much, right? Sometimes it's that second little curse that the delay's not ready for.
Secret of radio, the 7-second delay has to recharge after you use it.
Right. And you only use 3.5 seconds but with one button push. But I'm a double button pusher because you just can't be too safe. And then you're loving effing life. And all of a sudden, the FCC might not be. Tyreek Hill. Good press conference. Just might need to put him on a tape delay. I'm Joshua Brisco here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays. That's the Missouri Lottery. Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, I think we're going to get Andy Reid up next, so we should hear from Andy Reid as he becomes the first coach in NFL history to have 100 wins with two separate franchises. And this isn't how he would have wanted it to go because it meant a couple of losses these last 2 weeks, but he was able to get that 100th win as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs against his old team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure he was asked about that plenty. We'll hear from Andy Reid whenever we come back.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too. Enjoy the great weather this fall on your new deck. It's time to head for Kansas City Deck Supply, the most knowledgeable source for decking in Kansas City. KC Deck Supply urges you to deck it right the first time with Fiberon decking. Fiberon offers eco-friendly, beautiful outdoor spaces designed to endure. You'll get the quality you demand at a price you can afford. Check out the newest location in Lee Summit at the Pine Tree Plaza Shopping Center, in the Northland at 152 Highway in North Oak, or in the Metcalf 103 Shopping Center in Overland Park. Online at kcdecksupply.com. Kansas City Deck Supply, for everything you need to build a better deck.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the biggest Callaway trade-in event of the year. Starting this Thursday through Sunday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 75% trade-in bonus towards new Apex irons and Epic woods. Both the Apex and Epic families are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com or call the store nearest you to schedule your free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Your money management is now manageable. With an account from Central Bank, you'll have all the tools and technology you need to move, manage, and maximize your money the way you want, when you want. And you have the perk of local branches right in your community when you need some one-on-one time. Because we do banking better. Open your account online or in person at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. Strong roots. Endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy, Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Hear exclusive Chiefs coverage every week from the best in the business. Only on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Trent Green, Adam Schefter, Tim Grunhard, Adam Teicher, Matt Derrick, Adam Kaplan, Chef Shadia, Nick Leckie, Gary Barnett, Sam Mellinger, Bill Moss, Mark Bowrichter, Stan Weber, Sam McDowell, Seth Kaiser, Blair Kirchhoff, Kevin Harlan, Field Yates, Jesse Newell, Cynthia Freeland, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Are you losing your hair and feel like you don't know what to do? We are here to help you. Hi, I'm Dr. Spencer Egan with Acentus Hair Restoration. We can help you get your hair back using state-of-the-art robotic hair transplant technology. At Acentus Hair Restoration, we care about maintaining the hair you have and replacing the hair you've lost. Book your free consultation for a personalized plan and feel like you again. Call 913-914-5975 or visit kansascityhairtransplant.com.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Shotgun, shovel, off the bobble and catch, touchdown! Jody Fortson, back-to-back weeks with a score out of Valdosta State. What a journey to get to this point.
You know I love Jody Fort season, baby! I love the short yardage Andy Reid plays. I love the Jody Fortson story. I love that they're using Jody Fortson, and that, for me, makes it my Andy Reid call of the game presented by Olathe Subaru. At Subaru of Olathe, they put you in the driver's seat. Shop their huge selection of vehicles your way, hassle-free, online, anytime at SubaruofOlathe.com. I am so excited. I'll say this again, but to give another excuse to say thank you to everybody who's been extremely kind over the course of the last couple of weeks. I was discharged from the hospital on last Saturday, and was able to watch Chiefs-Chargers at home. And I got to tell you, it does put things in a nice perspective. While I was taking my first shower in a week, literally a week, I had gone Sunday to Sunday. I was very sick. I was very sick and then unconscious for a portion of it. I was taking my first shower in a week while Patrick Mahomes turned the ball over twice. And I still felt great because I was home. I like to think that I was ultimately fully healed by the power of Jody Fortson catching a touchdown. His first career touchdown my first day out of the hospital was a very welcome present. And then today I got to see another one. Feels this is basically the plot of It's a Wonderful Life, right? You just almost die, and then Jody Fortson catches 2 touchdowns. I can't think of a better way of it ultimately playing out. It's really exciting. Can we start Andy Reid, Rudy? Or Beards? Rudy's working on it. You're here. Do you think can we take our first swing at our opening statement from him and everything, or do you want to wait until we're 100% locked and loaded? Let's, you know what? I'll answer my own question. Why don't we go ahead and let's start here on Andy Reid. We'll hear from the head coach of the Chiefs in just a moment, but first, let me let you hear about Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia.
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com. And by Andy's Frozen Custard. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy. Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Once again, I am also left thinking about Andy's Frozen Custard and how much I would love to just pretty much get rid of normal concrete and just replace it with Andy's Frozen Concrete. God, I would just destroy some frozen custard. I would have to take insulin because of the reason I was in the hospital. But I could do that, and would, to enjoy some Andy's Frozen Custard. Thanks to Andy's, thanks to Robert Brogdon for their continued support. Let's hear from Andy Reid at the opening statement as Andy Reid became the first coach in NFL history to win 100 games with 2 different franchises, and he got his 100th win as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs against his former franchise, the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's Andy Reid's opening thoughts.
Is in the concussion protocol. So other than that, all right. As far as the injuries go, Josh Kando hurt his left ankle, and Ben Neiman is in the concussion protocol. So other than that, we came out pretty healthy here. It was great to be here, first of all, and it was an offensive day. So on both sides of the ball here, or both sides of the field, Pat had ended up with 5 touchdowns, which I thought was a tremendous day. Tyreek had 11 catches for 186 yards. Clyde with 14 carries for 102 yards. And then our defense did a great job in the red zone. So we held them to field goals instead of touchdowns. We were down there 5 times, and we were successful with that part of it 3 out of the 5 times. So, and then Mike Dannon had the 2 sacks, which was great. He was around the quarterback most of the day, and that was great. It was a good day for the punters too. They had a vacation on both teams, and you know, that can be a good thing and a bad thing, right? So that's also goes both sides of the field. But all in all, it was a good game. So we're glad we won the game. With that, time's yours.
There's Andy Reid's opening statements, and also mentioned there earlier in the show, the 4th, I was shocked this number was as low as it was. The 4th game in NFL history, this is according to Adam Teicher of ESPN, friend of the station, the 4th game in NFL history with no punts. I would have assumed, honestly, that it happened a couple times a year. So I'm shocked at that number. And fitting that this Chiefs team would be involved in it. Seems like that could be the case again. Maybe another time even this year. We'll see. But we'll, it would be nice to see them force a punt. But, again, nice little vacation for both punters today. Next up from Andy Reid here, that big picture thing, the Philadelphia return. He was asked about what it means to him to come back to Philadelphia and to get back to winning after losing back-to-back games and what they can learn from this whole experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. I mean, the people here have been phenomenal since I got here. My room was loaded with food. So it was good to have a cheesesteak and a lot of other things. So it's good to be back and then doing that here. I hadn't really thought about that. I don't know if that's a positive thing, but I'm glad it took place and it's over now, so we can move on.
But then to follow up on that, obviously, you got to win today, stop the hemorrhaging from the two games. What can you take away from this ball game? I know you talked about what you did, red zone wise, and obviously they will have a pretty decent number. What takeaways can you take from this game first?
Yeah, so I think it was a great day for our young guys just to get experience, especially on the defensive side. That back end, we've got some young guys that were playing in there. Be good to get some of the guys back and in place and coming off injury. But that will pay off for us down the road. That experience will pay off for us. But you got to ask a question. Come on.
What did he say at the end there? What was that? Is that? I don't know. Okay, that's all right. Don't worry about it, Beards. We move on to the next one. Lot to take away from all of that. We're good for the next one, though. Okay. Sorry. A lot of moving parts here today. Next up here from Andy Reid, talking about the 201-yard rushing effort for this team and if this is becoming a little bit of a trend for this Chiefs offense.
Yeah, I saved it for you. Just right. Now, listen, we ran the ball well, and we were pretty balanced, as we went. So it was a good throwing day, it was a good passing day, and it worked out all right for us.
Coach, you mentioned 201 yards rushing last week, 186. Is the start of a trend going forward? 300-plus yards rushing in 2 games?
Now, listen, we want to be able to mix it up, one or the other, and sometimes both for you, Herbie. But no, I'm not big on trends. Once you have trends, these other guys are pretty good that you're playing against, and they knock you out of the ballpark. So, but we want to be able to do both and do it when we want to do it. So.
That's kind of interesting. I made an audible whenever Reid said that there. That makes sense to me. You don't want to get too big on any trends because nobody keeps a trend very long. Or if you do, you're not in the league for very long because every trend has a pushback that will show up eventually. And so eventually, if the Chiefs run the ball well enough that teams start really respecting their ability to do that, then you go over the top to Tyreek Hill. Which I think is one of the advantages of the rebuilt offensive line this year of having guys that can be a little bit more violent in the running game. Again, as somebody who is pretty, I would say I'm pretty running back agnostic. But I understand that there is a role for a running game. It's just more limited, I think, than most people would argue that it is. But even I, as a self-proclaimed pass lover, I appreciate their ability to pick up some short yards. Like that Michael Burton 3rd and 1 from early in the game. Dude was barely touched. I don't think he was touched until he got to the first down marker and then got another yard or two beyond that. I'm glad that they have that ability, something in the repertoire, because as soon as the defense adjusts to one part of your game, you want to be able to show them something else. And the Chiefs can do that in a billion different ways, which is what makes this team so much fun. Reid was asked a little big picture here from the bounce back of 2 straight losses, what he saw from the guys on the practice field this week and in the locker room after losing 2 in a row.
Yeah, listen, you guys asked me this last week about, does it bother you? Well, yeah, it bothers everybody. You're in a profession where winning is very important. And so these guys take that personal, and they understand that, and they've had success, and they want to get back doing the things that they know are correct, and we weren't doing that for a couple weeks. We had all these turnovers and too much. You give games away that way, and that's what we did. So it was important that we buckled down better and do a nice job, and that's what happened today.
So in what way, though, could you sense that? I mean, could you sense something different in practice this week?
Yeah, listen, I mean, they had a good week the week before, so, but it's a bit of a mindset in a lot of cases, and I was pleased with the way they performed today. I think Nick's doing a nice job with this team, so people here need to be patient with him. He's new to town, and you saw what he's capable of doing here, and I think the Eagles are in good hands here.
Andy, when you see the team, when you see the results match the preparation that you put in today, when you see the results match, how gratifying is that for the whole staff?
Work hard. The coaches work hard. They spend a lot of time doing this, and then the players. We've got a group that they're not afraid to work. So you want them to have success, and it's good for them to have that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think the question there was, does the performance match the effort or whatever, the practice and everything? And again, I mean, you heard him talk about the turnovers and stuff there. One of the reasons also that I haven't dwelled too much on the Chiefs putting up 42 points, which is a wonderful effort. Patrick Mahomes throwing 5 touchdowns is a great ball of fun for a Sunday afternoon. But again, I mean, there's no question that we've gotten a little bit numb to the greatness that this offense has to offer. And so saying, these turnovers are not who we are, when Andy Reid says that, I believe him. That it's not who this offense has been over the last 2 years. Some of the things defensively, however, much bigger questions, and you can actually ask those questions, I think, reasonably. That it would be silly to say, is the Chiefs' offense broken? No. They had some really bad moments and some bad mistakes and some bad luck that all played together, and they lost 2 in a row. The Chiefs that you saw today, that's the real offense. It's not completely perfect, but it's really good. And it might get a little better when Josh Gordon gets around. We'll see. I don't know. I would enjoy that. But back on the defensive side here, Andy Reid was asked about the substitution issues the Chiefs have had defensively in the red zone.
Yeah, there were a couple. It wasn't necessarily a guy tired here or there and getting him in and getting him out. So, but that happens. That happens during the game, and in particular when you're shuffling people, trying to keep them fresh during these warm weather months. So, we'll get that cleaned up.
I mean, I would be curious. The warm weather months thing is kind of fun. I would be curious at what point that becomes inexcusable, for lack of a better word. When you say, hey, this is a problem, not just something that we're going to fix, but I have no idea if Andy Reid would ever phrase it sort of that way. But it's not, I would have a lot more slack I'd be willing to extend to Spags and the rest of the coaching staff, to the scheme settling in, to all of the players if it was year one, if these were new players there. And at this point, it's a little bit frustrating that there are some of these issues that they're still continuing to have at this point. Let's go next up here back to the offensive side. Tyreek Hill was obviously electric today. Here's what Andy Reid had to say about his performance.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just the last play. I mean, it was all the way through here. We've got the 2 guys that people are going to try to take out of the game, between Kels and him, and they've got to really work for everything that they get. And so Tyreek has developed in it. He doesn't get frustrated. He just finds a way. And sometimes you have to do that. And when you're younger, you have a tendency to get frustrated in those situations. And, he's about seen it all, and he just works through it. He comes back with answers like, hey, this is potentially there, so I appreciate that.
This is sorry. I was going to go one ahead, actually, Beard. Sorry, never mind. Let's stay right here, actually. There's him on Tyreek Hill. Let's hear from Andy Reid talking a little bit about Philadelphia again. He was asked if he ever has any moments where he walks on or off the field where he thinks back to whenever he was there in Philadelphia as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, I did. I mean, coming to the hotel, I felt that way. I mean, I saw a lot of people that I had known, and there were still a lot of folks here. There's only 3 players left, but they're special guys, so, I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed going out and competing against them. They're going to give you you're going to give them our best shot, and they're going to do the same thing in return. They want to kick your tail, so.
Does it strike any emotional chord at all, or?
No, listen, I'm pretty good with it. You want me to cry up here, buddy? I'm sweating my butt off. I'm back in the shower.
We're not going to get any Andy Reid tears from the podium, it sounds like. That's for the best. I'm just glad he's there. Andy Reid was asked if there was any time that he thought he might not be able to make this game today because he went to the hospital immediately following last week's game.
No, I thought I'd be okay. Yeah, I'm stubborn that way, I guess, but I thought I'd be fine.
So all good. We still don't really know all the details of all that, but it sounds like he's in good health and good spirits as well, which is obviously very good to hear. Last thing here from Andy Reid. He was asked if he said anything to Nick Sirianni about coaching in Philadelphia, as the two of them now share that in common.
Yeah, keep being you. Keep being you. You just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're going to be fine. So he's got a strong personality, a strong kid, man. So, and you need that here. You guys can be a little rough, so, but you've got to have that, and you keep moving. You don't let things grab you and take you down. So,
there you go. There's Andy Reid, the first NFL head coach. Let me take another pass at that. There's Andy Reid, who has now become the first NFL head coach in the history of the sport to win 100 games with 2 different franchises. And then today, he does it against his old franchise, recording win number 100 as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm Joshua Brisco. This is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your % off. They scored 42 points today, so you get 42% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather. We'll take a break. Patrick Mahomes next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
As we start a new school year, most of us are lucky to have a home for our children. But for some families, that's not the reality. They are homeless and without hope. Fortunately, there's a solution. At North American Savings Bank, we believe in taking care of our community. We are a proud supporter of Community Link, who has ended and prevented homelessness for over 35 years throughout Greater Kansas City. Call 816-595-5553 for more information.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org.
Ryan Radke here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football as the New England Patriots play host to the reigning Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's Tom Brady's first trip back to Foxborough to face his old team. And if that wasn't enough, he needs just 68 yards to set a new NFL passing yards record. Should be an epic night. Join Tony Baselli and me for all the action on Sunday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Make your holidays even better with a trip to watch Kansas City take on Denver. The Missouri Lottery, Hy-Vee, and Sports Radio 810 WHB want to send you and a guest to Denver to watch Kansas City take on the Broncos. Visit a participating Hy-Vee grocery and gas location through October for your chance to register. Purchase a $2 Missouri Lottery Powerball ticket for your chance to win. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And go Chiefs! Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too.
Don't be left in the dark. Call the experts at Bob Hamilton today. Our technicians have the training and experience to analyze and repair all of your electrical problems. For a limited time, we're offering a full electric panel inspection for only $99. Bob Hamilton, plumbing, heating, AC, router, and electrical. Call 913-888-4BOB to schedule your appointment.
Bob Hamilton Plumbing and Electrical. Heating and AC. Call 888-4BOB. Remember 913.
Crucial Staffing has been a vital component to the battle against COVID-19 nationwide. Their operation all starts in Kansas City, and they're committed to being a healthcare staffing and emergency management company that can handle nearly any staffing need with speed and quality. Crucial Staffing has the nation's largest volume of deployable clinical and non-clinical staff of reservists, who you can learn about by visiting crucialstaffing.com/contact or calling 888-222-6359. Explore more about the Crucial Crew today.
Join Union Broadcasting in thanking local companies that care. Union Broadcasting salutes CBD American Shaman for their support of the Derrick Thomas and Neil Smith Third and Long Foundation, sacking illiteracy among urban youth. Through social, cultural, and educational activities, the Third and Long Foundation helps participating children in school and beyond. You can also help by donating at thirdandlong.org. Thank you, CBD American Shaman, for being a company that cares.
Mahomes off his back foot, sails it deep and caught by himself, Tyreek Hill. 5 touchdowns on the day for Patrick Mahomes. And a monster day for Hill. 186 yards, 3 scores.
5 touchdowns through the air for Patrick Mahomes today. That one was a whole lot of fun to ice it. That is our Mahomes Magic Moment of the game, brought to you by BOK Financial. Mahomes Magic Moment is brought to you by BOK Financial. Whatever you want your company to be, there's BOK Financial. Be ready with BOK Financial, member FDIC. Let's go to Patrick Mahomes. The quarterback press conference is in the can. Let's hear from the Chiefs QB right after this.
Patrick Mahomes' press conference is brought to you by your Kansas City Acura dealers. They are partnering with Patrick Mahomes in support of his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation. Test drive to make a difference and enter to win a Mahomes jersey. And by Xfinity. Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that?
Patrick Mahomes starts with the big story of the day for the record books as Chiefs head coach Andy Reid becomes the first head coach in NFL history to record 100 wins with 2 separate franchises, getting his 100th win as the head coach of the Chiefs against his former franchise. Mahomes was asked about getting Reid his 100th win and what he thinks this win means to him.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I'm not going to say what Tyreek said, but it was definitely exciting to kind of get him that win. We were due to get him that win. It'd been a couple weeks now, but I'm glad we got to do it in Philadelphia and around where he kind of came into his own, and now he's in Kansas City, and it's a good thing he's here with us.
You know Andy about as well as anybody in the locker room. What do you think this means to him?
Yeah.
Not only get 100 with the Chiefs, but get it here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's special to him for sure. I mean, being in Philadelphia, kind of like I said, I mean, he kind of became Andy Reid in a sense in Philadelphia, and to be able to go to Kansas City. And build what he's built here and get that 100 win in Philadelphia. I mean, obviously he's going to keep on going. He has a lot of dreams for this season. But he'll definitely take in this moment for a second at least.
Go ahead.
Patrick, you mentioned, Andy becoming who he was here, but now I presume you feel like his identity is, and going forward as the Chiefs coach, do you feel some sense of that in this moment too, or doing it in this building and all that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's. I think when you look back on him, you'll know him as a Kansas City Chief. I mean, the way he's able to kind of build up this organization from day one and win and then build up to where we won the Super Bowl and got back to the Super Bowl and then now where we're at now. He's building something. He'll continue to build it. We have a lot of young guys on this team who he gets the best out of every single day. I no offense to Philly, I'm glad they let him go, and he's here coaching us in Kansas City.
That's pretty good. Yeah, no offense, none taken. They let him go. And look, Andy Reid had been there for a really long time and had been very, very good, but never a champion. And things had gotten a little messy towards the end. Frankly, I'd love to hear Andy Reid talk about this in the future at some point, but the lessons he learned in Philly in terms of like, he became kind of Belichickian in terms of personnel decisions and stuff. And look, I mean, if he went to Clark Hunt tomorrow and said, "I hate Brett Veach, fire Brett Veach," Clark Hunt would. Andy Reid is at the top of the org chart, right behind I think only Clark Hunt. But having Veach there and somebody that he can trust and that he relies on and everything the way that he does, I think Andy Reid learned in Philadelphia what he does and doesn't want to deal with and the kind of type of people that he does and doesn't want to be around and to rely on and everything. And I think that's why the organization here in Kansas City looks the way that it does right now with Veach and with their relationship with Clark Hunt and all the different moving parts there. I'd love to hear Andy Reid talk more about that in more depth someday. I bet he'd have quite a bit to say if he wanted to share. And obviously he was extremely successful in Philly as well. This thing's kind of interesting. Let's go to the ground with Patrick Mahomes. He was asked about the Chiefs' ability to run the ball and what that's telling the rest of the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to open everything up. I mean, being able to run the football in this league is crucial. And be able to have the guys that we have, and you can see week by week, they're getting better and better and better. And they obviously, they have the talent. It's about working together and building those relationships. And Clyde's running the ball really well. Other guys are stepping in and running the ball really well. And I think you saw today, once you run the ball a lot, defense will come up a little bit, and you can kind of hit them over the top.
So that last bit is the most important part to me, where you are hearing Patrick Mahomes say the truth of the matter, which is that if you can run the ball a bunch and it's working, great. And then as soon as they move to stop it, 44-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill over the top. That is where this offense is just going to be unstoppable. Because then you move to stop all the stuff way back and you put back two safeties, which was the case early on in the game especially. You run a zone with two safeties and try to keep things in front of you. And, all right, well, then we're just going to run the ball for 6 yards a carry. Even I think that's okay. And obviously it's been good for the Chiefs. Let's go to the red zone here as well. Now, Mahomes was asked about the creativity this team uses in the red zone, and obviously it is a very unique offense up against almost anything you'll find anywhere else in the sport of football.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's funny, the first underhand pass Kelsey actually made up, and he used himself as a decoy to kind of open it up. And so when you have receivers coming up and saying, hey, I think if I do this, he'll get someone else open, it's a special group of guys. And so he did that one, and then he had the one where where we told him to give a little bit of Hollywood sell and telling Kelsey to give a little bit of anything, you're going to get a lot. So he showed why his acting skills and got us a touchdown to Jody, and to be able to do all those different cool things keeps kind of everybody alive and ready to go.
That's fun. Travis Kelce there getting credit for the Tom and Jerry play, as Clyde gave us the play name. Apparently that was a Kelce idea or design or whatever. And then you get the one to Fortson where Kelce is fully hamming it up as if he is very confused about where the offense has gone wrong, and then all of a sudden, touchdown. It's great. Mahomes here, kind of a follow-up from what Tyreek Hill talked about, was asked about if he felt in the locker room the team getting so used to winning that they just expected it on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I don't know if it affects your performance, but I think it affects your week of work, I guess you would say. I think you understood this last week, the urgency that we had, that we need to get everything done. We need to practice at a certain attitude. You need to go in and really work on the little details. And, I mean, it's not complacency, but you lose those little things whenever you're winning every single week, whenever you can get at the end of the game and be like, oh, we're just going to win the football game. We'll figure out a way. It doesn't happen like that in the NFL, and the NFL will kind of correct you really quick. And we saw that, and now we have to keep building because we're playing a really good football team this next week.
I was going to ask, after a tough couple of weeks, what does a game like this do for you guys, particularly when your offense was going along so that it did today?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good step in the right direction. It shows that work that we put in this last week was what we need to do every single week. It shows that we have to be able to run the football to open up other things. But there's still a lot of things that we have to get better at. We have to cut the turnovers on either another interception, another mistake in a crucial part of the game. We have to find ways to get stops in the red zone, which I thought the defense did a good job of that today. And at the end of the day, we have to find ways to continue to win. And I think we have a nice test this next week playing the Bills and how well they're playing. We get to do it Sunday at Arrowhead, Sunday Night Football, so it'll be a good game.
That game is going to be fantastic, or at least it's going to be very interesting and could be a lot of fun. Could also be very, very stressful. We'll get to that in a little while. Next up here, Mahomes was asked if the Chiefs met their expectations for this week's performance.
I think we started it. I mean, there's still a long ways to go. This is a long season. We started in the right direction by battling. I mean, they came out and firing, and we were able to battle back and find a way to win the football game. But if you look at our schedule, there's no easy games. So we've kind of earned the right to play in all these tough games, and we have to continue to build and get better. You don't win a season at the beginning of October, September. It's about getting better each and every week, and we're going to keep building and try to do what we can to get better as a team.
Mike. How do you build that? Because it's easy to kind of let up a little bit and say you want to keep that every single. What kind of things do you do as a leader and for yourself to maintain that kind of feeling?
I think it's just holding each other accountable. I mean, just as much as I hold these guys accountable, they hold me accountable at being the best Patrick Mahomes I can be every single day. And I think when you have leaders on the team that do that to each other, that I'm making Travis the best Travis Kelce can be every day, Tyreek, and then Chris Jones, Tyrann Mathieu. It in turn will kind of flow throughout the entire team. We haven't dug ourselves out of a hole yet. We're still not in first place in the AFC West, and we have to continue to build and win football games. And so I'm excited to keep that challenge going, keep that same mindset, and be a great Kansas City Chiefs football team.
He's right that you can't win a season in October or November, but you can lose one and lose your seeding and put yourself in a bad spot. So they do still have a hole to dig out of, and next week against Buffalo would be a really nice time to add one to the resume. I'll say a quick goodbye to our friends listening on ESPN Wichita as the simulcast here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City is about to end. But if you're listening in Wichita right now and you want to keep listening, you can listen in the 810 WHB mobile app, which you can download in your favorite app store, or at 810WHB.com. So thanks everyone on ESPN Wichita 92.3, our new effort down there in Wichita. Really appreciate the ability to be on both places at the same time. So thanks to Wichita and everyone down there as we move on to our last couple clips here from Patrick Mahomes. And then also Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest will join us shortly as well. So if you're listening to Wichita or listening anywhere, you're going to want to stick around on the other side of this upcoming break. But a couple more things from Mahomes, talking about Tyreek Hill, his incredible performance, and what it's like to be feeding him the ball whenever Tyreek Hill is as hot as he was today.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that all the time. I mean, when he says he's such a special playmaker. I mean, not only as a receiver catching the ball, but we find ways to get him the ball in the run game. We find ways to kind of use him to get other people open. But I think you see that with this team, it's about winning at the end of the day. I mean, we want to win football games. Tyreek, obviously, we want to get him involved as much as possible. But if we need to use him to get someone else open, he's willing to do that. Today, Travis didn't have this big game that he always has. But if you would have saw him on the sideline, you just saw the leader that he was. He's getting everybody going every single time, not letting the energy go down. And I think that shows the type of guys that we have on this team is obviously everybody wants to have big games every single game. But at the end of the day, it's about winning winning. And I think we have guys that understand that.
That's been echoed from everybody. I have to agree that appears to be what this team is focused on, which is a wonderful thing. Just a matter of keeping the train moving at this point. Last thing here from Patrick Mahomes. He was asked about the offense not turning the ball over as much as they obviously have these last couple of weeks and beginning to look like they were having fun out there again.
Yeah, you got to keep enjoying this game. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game. It's something that we want to be great at, something that we want to continue to work, and it's challenging every single day. But you have to have fun out there. And I think you see whenever we're having fun, usually good things happen. And so, like you said, we're going to play a good Buffalo team. And I think had another shutout that's playing really good football. And I'm sure they want to beat us pretty bad. And so I'm excited for the challenge to get to play them and get to go up against one of the best teams in the AFC.
There's Patrick Mahomes. This is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. I'm Joshua Brisco. The show's brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest joins us next on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside Gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BILL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BILL for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code BILL.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
My husband's ED was affecting our marriage. HIMS was our answer. HIMS connected my husband with a licensed provider online. He got medication to treat his ED at a fraction of the price of the name brand, delivered right to our door. Thanks to HIMS, we got our intimacy and our marriage back.
Right now, get your first online provider's visit free when you go to forhims.com/joy. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
WHB Kansas City.
Hi there, Gary Giles with Giles' Jewelry. Everybody knows Giles' Jewelry is the place to buy an engagement ring. Thousands of diamond rings, quality second to nobody. Come on into Giles, 95th and Antioch, right in front of the big Hy-Vee. Giles' Jewelry, we're the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Giles' Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
If you're looking for a new vehicle, you need to check out Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. They've got a large selection, including the redesigned 2021 Kia Sorento with an upscale new interior, the 22 Telluride, which is one of the best values on the market, or the first ever 2022 Carnival. Plus, all new Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Visit OlatheKia.com to find the Kia you're looking for, with incredible incentives and dealer discounts. Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, just a short drive from I-35. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
A KC tradition since 1957 and voted the best steak in Kansas City, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. Go to HerefordHouse.com for hours, new menu items, and to make your reservations. Follow Hereford House on Facebook and Instagram for exclusive specials. Hereford House, voted Kansas City's favorite steakhouse.
Hi, I'm Jordan, president of Digital Lagoon, a web and design agency. This year, I'm proud to be celebrating 25 years in business. Here at Digital Lagoon, we can provide you with a strategic digital marketing strategy. With the implementation of social media, SEO, and online advertising, these programs are proven to improve your website traffic. Let us collaborate with you to structure a plan and cut through the digital noise. Check us out at lagoon.com. That's lagoon.com.
Your money management is now manageable. With an account from Central Bank, you'll have all the tools and technology you need to move, manage, and maximize your money the way you want, when you want. And you have the perk of local branches right in your community when you need some one-on-one time. Because we do banking better. Open your account online or in person at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. Strong roots. Endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
Mahomes roll. Underhanded toss for the touchdown. Edwards-Helaire. Patrick Mahomes can come at you from every which angle and put it on the highlight reel for Kansas City.
Overhand, underhand, doesn't matter. It's our play of the game brought to you by Central Bank of the Midwest. The Chiefs continue to find different ways to get into the end zone. They find some ways to keep teams out of the end zone. It's gotten a little bit better. It was a little bit better here today, and we'll talk about it now with our friend Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. You can read his work at ChiefsDigest.com. And he's brought to you by Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. You better buzz Bob. Sorry, I'm a week out of practice, and I forgot that we're doing alliteration now. I love alliteration. I just forgot. You better buzz Bob. We're now offering electrical services, panels, wiring, generators, updating fixtures. They do it all, offering a whole home electrical inspection for just $99. Call 888-4BOB. Remember the 913. Matt, very good to be speaking to you today. A Chiefs victory is nice, but merely hearing your voice, I'm sure whenever I hear it in just a second from now, is going to really put a smile on my face. Go ahead, do it.
Well, just hearing your voice gives me light in my life.
It's been a long couple of weeks, but I feel great, and I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very glad to be talking to you.
You know, I pulled up, because I clicked on the wrong link earlier, and one thing led to another, and usually that takes you to a bad place. In this case, it took me to your postgame show from 2 weeks ago after the Chargers game, and I was amazed at how depressed you were. I mean, I guess you were probably depressed because, you didn't feel well. But
after the Ravens game, you mean?
This was after the I
didn't do the Chargers game because I was in the hospital, or I just gotten home. Yeah.
Well, it was after the Cleveland game, and you were depressed after the Cleveland game.
Yeah. I mean, I did not feel very good for quite a long time, which should have probably, I thought, as of the Ravens game, because it was the night after getting home after a prime time, unfortunate way of all of that going. The show got done at like 1:30 in the morning or whenever it was. And so we, whenever I got home that night, that's when the barfing started, which again fitting for the effort the Chiefs had put up then. So I will say that I was probably the most aggressive I'd been in a post game show after the Ravens game, and I was very unhappy with how the Chiefs thing went out, but I also had not really eaten much solid food for a couple of days, and so I'm sure there were lots of things at play there. Yeah,
but I'm just hoping that after a win, you're somewhat cheery.
A little bit, but here's the additional issue on this front, and this is where I'm gonna find myself getting in trouble here today, I'm afraid. I love watching Patrick Mahomes be great at football. I love a 40-point offensive performance. It's all great. Everything offensively today was great. But I wasn't really worried about, not everything was perfect, but everything was good, right? But I wasn't really worried about the offense, like, finding its footing again and not turning the ball over 5 times in a game or whatever. I have obviously been worried about the defense, and I didn't feel a whole lot better about it after the game today. So I'm afraid that I'm still bringing a little bit of unfortunate negativity, even though I was I'm in a much better mood now than I was after the losses. That's for sure.
I just want us to just all step back for a moment and say that not everything was perfect on a day in which the offense scored 6 touchdowns out of the 7 times it tried.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point.
You are all spoiled brats.
That's true. They didn't punt.
They
didn't punt.
Scored 6 touchdowns out of the 7 times they tried. Yeah, They're all spoiled.
And I'm spoiled. No. And that's 100. I mean, you're 100% right. That's 100% true and also fair. And we also take it for granted a little bit. Like
absolutely,
you just know that it's eventually gonna happen on some level. But again, for me, like let's talk about the offense being the rocket ship here, because I'd rather start there, and then we can circle back around on the defense. Explain to me how good this offense actually is, and why I should stop being a spoiled brat who takes all of it for granted.
You just had an offense score 6 times out of the 7 times that it tried. You have a wide receiver that everyone in the league is trying to shut down and is using all of their efforts to try and keep from breaking big plays and beating you with the deep ball, that scores 3 touchdowns, almost got a 4th, with 186 yards. You have the best tight end, not just in the NFL today, but possibly the best tight end of all time. Oh, and by the way, you're going to be adding Josh Gordon to this offense.
That's good, you think?
You've got a running back over the last 2 weeks that's averaging almost 7 yards a carry. I mean, are your diamond your wallet's too small for your 50s and your diamond shoes are too tight?
The pass protection wasn't perfect. I'm just saying that.
Oh no, the pass protection was not perfect.
I'm just saying there's room to grow, you know. I'm not. Let me say this again. For me, my tempered joy and exuberance about the offense is just a matter of that. This is sort of borderline what I expect them to be because of how great I acknowledge they are. Which again, I know is also in a way still kind of spoiled. Yeah,
the offense only scored 42 points. Those bums.
Right. I'm not calling them bums. I'm saying we're used to it. I'm saying that we've all gotten used to to watching an alien play quarterback throwing the ball to 2 other aliens. Like that's just what this team has offensively.
And you're probably going to have a 3rd alien pretty soon.
Are your hopes high on Josh Gordon? Are you I'm trying not to accidentally make a pun about being high. Cuz that would be in poor taste, but I'm trying to avoid it even though I simply cannot. Are you high on Gordon at this point? Are you optimistic about what he can do?
I'm getting pretty high. I mean, there are concerns. I mean, man is 30, and I know, good grief, things started going wrong with me when I was 30.
For me, it's starting at 26, apparently.
But, hey, there's not a lot of mileage on the tires,
right.
And you look at him, and he's physically different. I mean, you see him out on the field, and you see exactly what the other guys are talking about. I mean, is this guy Megatron? No, there's only one Megatron. But is he just physically different than the other guys? Yeah, he is. And for what we're hearing, at least from behind the scenes, just after 3 days of practice, this isn't Le'Veon Bell. This isn't Shady McCoy. This isn't C.J. Spiller coming into the Chiefs. This is Josh Gordon. And as long as he does not become the enemy of himself, then he's going to come in and do some things. And if you look at Josh Gordon's history, I mean, he can come in and pick up an offense in one role and do some things. So, I mean, do I expect him to come in and be a 1,000-yard receiver? No, because, they're 4 games into the season and he's not here yet. But could he make a significant contribution and be a reliable number 2, number 3 option on this team? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not expecting, and I think it's unfair to expect him to come in and be an all-pro receiver and Super Bowl MVP. But you know what? I mean, that's in the range of options.
Yeah.
I mean, the range of options are pretty wide on this. But one thing is that when Josh Gordon has not been an enemy of himself, he has contributed to every team he's been on. Yeah. So I figure that if he does the same thing here, he's going to contribute.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you were a team that needed him to come in and be your number 1 receiver right now, you'd probably not be in great shape. But if he's your off-speed pitch, if he's your 3rd option, and if you want to make your running back even your 3rd and say that Gordon could be your 4, the power of having somebody on the field who can be a target beyond Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, who demand attention. We've been kind of hoping that, you might get some of that from Byron Pringle, but I think everyone has to acknowledge that Josh Gordon's ceiling is a lot higher, and that if he can be the guy that is, again, like just where Mahomes can go whenever a defense says, all right, someone other than Hill or Kelce can beat us here, but we're not going to let it be one of these 2 guys. if Gordon is your option, that's a pretty darn good one.
Yeah, I mean, if Gordon can come in and just be even, I would say 75% of who he was the last time we saw him, and I think that's probably a very realistic expectation, if not, a low expectation. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of guy that can loosen things up. I mean, the Chiefs, to be able to here's the crazy thing. I mean, to do what they did today, the Eagles did, to a degree, exactly what other teams around the league have been trying to do. Mm-hmm. You don't let the Chiefs beat you deep.
Mm-hmm.
They really, Patrick Mahomes, I believe, only threw 2 balls further than 20 yards downfield.
Mm.
And, yeah, both of them hit. They were both big plays. But, the Eagles, for the most part, did what other teams have wanted to do, which is keep the Chiefs from beating you deep. Mm-hmm. And, what Josh Gordon can do is he's a guy who can come in and break things up. I mean, what the Chiefs need is somebody who can do some dirty things underneath. I mean, they're missing a Sammy Watkins type.
Yeah.
And Josh Gordon is Sammy Watkins, but better.
Mm.
I mean, at least he can be. So we'll see what he's got left and where he's at in his career. But if he can come in and be that kind of, over-the-middle threat, be somebody that can loosen up some defenses and just draw some attention, now you can't treat Hill and Kelsey the same way.
Yeah.
And that's the real threat. Now, I mean, he may have to cannibalize some catches and yards from them for a while in order to do that, but Chiefs are okay with that. I mean, they've generally been okay with spreading the ball around.
Have we talked about the offense positively enough to yell about the defense for a second? Is it fair?
I think we absolutely have, yes.
Okay, great. So what's going on? Because here's the thing. They were better in the red zone, right? And also it would have been even better than that if the Ben Neiman forced fumble had been properly ruled, because it was, in fact, a fumble. It was not challenged. It was not ruled a fumble on the field at the time. But let's say that make that note. Also note that a touchdown came in garbage time at the end of the game that should not necessarily be held against them in terms of the margin of this game, but also they couldn't keep them from scoring in garbage time, which is also a little bit indicative, I think, of kind of how some of this stuff went. But they were better in the red zone today against a worse offense than they faced through any of the first 3 weeks. But man, it just felt like they could get whatever they wanted offensively in terms of chunk yardage, moving the ball in a variety of ways. The Chiefs' defenses looked like a mess, disorganized, not particularly talented in a lot of these spots. Just almost nothing positive to say about the defense. Where are you at with the unit as a whole right now?
Yeah, and I honestly, I mean, Jalen Hurts picking up some yardage against you isn't a shame at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, teams have been they've been doing it against some teams. I mean, they did against Dallas, and Dallas is increasingly looking like they're for realish.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at least better than they have been. I don't know if they're 12-team win team or anything crazy like that, but they look better than they've been.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is that Steve Spagnuolo defenses, at least and certainly in Kansas City, have had some inconsistencies to them, but one consistency has always been creating turnovers.
Mm.
And that's what they're not doing right now. And that's what they didn't do today. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a great game against the Cowboys on Monday night, but what did they do? He turned the ball over 2 times. Didn't do that today. And, yeah, I mean, had that one turnover been ruled correctly, then, yeah, this is suddenly a 42-23 game.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, you throw out the garbage time touchdown, and now we are making a lot of exceptions here.
Yep.
But, you're 2 plays from being 42-16. And I feel like this game was a lot closer to being that than it was an Eagles victory. So,
yeah, I agree.
But, I mean, what is this defense going to be? It's going to be a bend but don't break defense. I think that's what you're going to have to shoot for as a Chiefs fan, is that that's what they are. And you're just hoping that they're going to be able to create some turnovers. And right now they're banged up. They need to get some pieces back to be back to full strength. And I think we've learned that maybe this defense is not as deep as one hoped heading into the season. But is the glass half full or half empty? I can make a case both ways.
What are they good at right now?
Well, yeah.
I think that's the right answer. I just was curious if you had one. Yeah.
I mean, they were good at third down today.
Yeah.
And they were better in the red zone today. I mean, those are at least encouraging steps in the right direction, although this is against an offense that's not lighting the world on fire and is significantly banged up on the offensive line. Yeah, it's a real good question, because I can't say that there's one thing that this defense can hang its hat on. It's not getting after the quarterback. It's not forcing turnovers. I mean, maybe there's some position groups that you can say are better than we expected. Maybe the cornerbacks, but other than that, I mean, no, I don't know what I could tell you to say that this defense is great at. What can be their one claim to fame? I don't think they have one yet. Of course, when you're allowing 30 points a game, you have something to be proud of.
Yeah. So let's walk through one particular part of this that I wanted to be kind of careful coming into this show on this, and then lots and lots of people who I trust their football eye to be accurate to this have said similar things, so I feel pretty safe about this. They look disheveled. They look confused. They look like they're out of position just so frequently. Multiple times a game, there is a linebacker sprinting from one set of hashes to the other. There is confusion pre or post snap. There's a missed assignment or a busted coverage, or again, there's confusion even before the ball even moves for the first time. And I don't know how big of an issue you think that is, but I'm curious how big of an issue you think it is, and I'm curious how you think that's happening, why you think that's happening, because this is year 3 of Spags' scheme, and the first 2 years this wasn't even that big of an issue, at least not like this, if memory serves. There's the added level of, hey, they've got Tyrann Mathieu back, and they have Anthony Hitchens, and they're continue running Dan Sorensen out there, with all 3 of them being guys that will be sold to you from Spags as guys that are out there that will help everyone else be better, that will help guys be lined up, that will make sure that everyone is in position, that can even help clean up some of the messes when they happen. And that has not been the case through 4 weeks by my eye. What do you see going on in that particular issue the defense is having?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure. And I'm basing this just off a few things that, some of the players have told us, kind of some of my own eye, what I've talked to some other people who I think are smarter than I am have seen. And I think a lot of it has just been the Chiefs have been their own worst enemy defensively in trying to be too smart. And I know that probably sounds counterintuitive, and some people are going to say, I've seen the Chiefs' defense, they don't look too smart. But I think that's a little bit of it is that I think that the defense has progressively gotten more complicated as Spagnuolo has added kind of more and more layers of what he wants to do. And now that he's in year 3, he's kind of asking everybody to do a little bit more. And he wants things to be a little bit more intricate. We've heard Anthony Hitchens talking about how, that they had some red zone issues a couple of weeks ago where didn't get the play in time, it was taking too long. Sometimes the play calls are too long. It's just there's too many moving pieces, and sometimes you just need to go back to meat and potatoes. And I kind of think they are in that position, because I think the reputation for the Chiefs defensively and what they like to do is they like to do a lot of substitutions, especially early in the season when they're trying to keep guys fresh and do a lot of rotations. Andy Reid even talked about it today, that they want to try and keep guys, in these games where I think it was like 76 degrees again in Philadelphia today. It's hot, so they're wanting to try and get guys in and out. Teams have noticed that, and they know that you can catch the Chiefs in a substitution. You can catch the Chiefs when they're not ready because they're trying to make some of these moves, or they're not getting a play call in quick enough. And I think that the one thing that we have consistently seen is that when offenses have really caught the Chiefs napping and have caught them out of positions, it's when they're going fast. Now, what's the answer to that? I mean, some of it is that you just got to learn to deal with it, because the teams realize that all they have to do is speed up the tempo a bit on you, and you can't handle it. They're going to keep doing it to you. But, some of it's going to be that you've just got to have some hot read defenses. You've got to be able to be ready to just go to some base plays that you can execute quickly, and that you don't have to wait for the call from the sideline, and you don't have to wait for substitutions. You just go with what you got, you get ready, and play, because And until you learn to go up tempo, teams are, I think, going to keep doing it to you.
The tempo thing is super interesting, and then one of the first things you mentioned there is something that I sort of floated out there earlier that I want to drill in on and see if you think that there's a chance this changes. That idea of, the first couple years for Spags, it was about getting in and installing the defense and getting players comfortable in it. And I remember distinctively, and I can't remember who it was that said it. You might remember for me and bail me out. But there was at least a player or two who talked about how much easier Spags' defense was to learn than Bob Sutton's. And I remember just kind of thinking that Sutton's seemed like it had to be on some level kind of convoluted, that there were so many moving parts, and you're dropping Justin Houston in coverage and all of that, that having Spags come in and give guys a little bit more read and react and a little bit more one assignment kind of jobs, that had to be such a breath of fresh air. And then I think we saw that maximize some of the players they had at that time. Plus, they brought in a lot of new guys, obviously. And that felt like a selling point of Spags' defense. And it just seems like, and again, I think you're saying that you also are kind of wondering if this is what we're seeing, but correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. The idea that maybe here in year 3, Spags is trying to put down a third layer, maybe there's a little bit of a backfiring there where instead of that simplicity and everything being, not simple, but easy to compute all at once, maybe it's getting a little bit complex in a way that's making it harder on these guys in a way that we're seeing turn into mental mistakes. Do you think there is something to that?
Yeah, I think that's a compelling theory, and because to me, I think you're absolutely right, and to your point about how some of these guys who threaded the generations of Sutton to Spagnuolo. Yeah, that was exactly what they said, was that, what Spagnuolo was asking him to do was much simpler than what Sutton was, because there was, more just read and react and less thinking about it. But I think that's a temptation that kind of comes along with every defensive coordinator, and is that, you kind of feel like you want to keep building on things. And there's a temptation, I think, to get too tricky and to feel like that you can get more complicated as time goes on. But that doesn't account for, attrition. It doesn't account for, getting new guys up to speed on your defense and understanding what's happening. And the Chiefs have a lot of attrition this year. Let's face it. They're playing some, new guys. They've got some rookies in there. They've got new additions in there. Defensively, there's a bit more turnover this season. And if you're at the same time trying to do things maybe trickier and more complicated than you were 2 years ago, I think that's difficult to get new guys up to speed and make sure that everybody's on the same page, because we're seeing things that were just not characteristic of this defense the last couple of years, where guys who, in theory, should know what they're doing are not on the same page with each other.
Yeah.
And, that to me, it's one of two things. It's either, the position coaches are just not drilling into guys, what the responsibilities are and holding everybody accountable, or it's that the big picture is too complicated and guys aren't picking it up. It could certainly be door number 3, but those seem like the most logical, outcomes at this point. And to me, I'm just seeing that. I'm seeing, and we're hearing it too. Some of the things that the guys are talking about, are the same kind of things that maybe we heard in the last 2 years of the Bob Sutton era, that things are too complicated, that just guys are having trouble keeping up.
Do you think there's a chance that we see Spags acknowledge some of that or tweak anything or kind of run anything back a little bit? Do you see there being that or any other solution before the Bills get to town?
Well, that's a good question, because, there's always, to me, kind of been the temptation for teams to, bank their best stuff for a tough game coming up. And so maybe the Chiefs were. Maybe some of it was that they were maybe saving some of their best defensive stuff until they got to the Buffalo Bills or some of the other teams on their schedule. There certainly seems to be more changes. Now, that said, there are times that the Chiefs look really effective. Now, that said, it's usually when they're blitzing,
right,
and they're doing things that are a little bit more unexpected. But, Steve Spagnuolo's blitzes this season has still been pretty effective. It's probably something that they need to go to a bit more and take a few more chances if they want to create some big negative plays and create some turnovers. They probably have put too much pressure on their front four to get all the pressure that they can when, you're dealing with one of your best pass rushers hasn't been playing and the other one's picking up a new position. I mean, because at this point, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, the front four has not been as good as I think that we expected it to be this year.
Yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to ask you about specifically. Jarran Reed, I just don't think I think I've heard his name like twice. I think he might have had a pressure late in the game today. But he has not lived up to the bill of sale that the Chiefs kind of were even selling. I mean, there's a number of times that Andy Reid brought him up a couple times, kind of apropos of nothing, or even just talking about Chris Jones and what it allows them to do. So there's Reid that I'm curious what you think of his first quarter of the season, and then what you think of the Chris Jones defensive end experiment. And I don't know. I mean, to assume a little bit, I'm guessing you're not going to say that it's been absolute gangbusters. And so I'm kind of curious if you think that there's a timeline for, hey, I'll give it this much longer before I start to really want to reevaluate some things.
Yeah, I mean, we're close to it. I mean, you're a quarter into the season. I mean, that's a good time to take stock and see where you're at and what things are happening. Jarran Reid in particular is interesting because, I mean, it doesn't seem that he is making the impact that was expected, and it doesn't necessarily look like it's that teams are paying him any special attention. He should be getting some favorable matchups inside, and it just doesn't seem to be clicking. And it's hard to say if it's just because the Chiefs haven't had. I think even discounting Mike Dana's 2 sacks today, you don't really think of him as an elite pass rusher. I mean, he's almost more of maybe an effort guy or a second effort or a speed guy.
Yeah.
Not just somebody who's going to go out there and just win one-on-one matchups against elite talents at the tackle positions. And then again, remember, they were going up against a couple of backup tackles today. But they truly only have the one experienced pass rusher right now, and that's Chris Jones. Yeah. And that is allowing, I know, teams to absolutely pay a lot more attention to him, but I think you're also seeing that, teams have been exploiting him by trying to force him to do the things that he's not as experienced with. The one thing that I feel like that the Chiefs haven't done of what they said they were going to do when it came to Chris Jones was put him on the matchup each week where he can dominate. And sometimes that was going to be inside, and sometimes that's going to be outside. Just haven't done it. I mean, we saw them, I think, we'll see how the snap counts come out later, but it certainly seemed to just anecdotally watching today that he played a little bit more inside than he has been. I mean, traditionally it's just, so far this season it's been Chris Jones outside on first and second down and then kicks inside on third down. It seems like maybe he was kicking inside a little bit on first and second downs now. But, I mean, I think there's times when you just have to say Chris Jones is best suited to play inside. Yeah. And the Ravens was probably one of those games because he's not an edge setter. It's not what he's great at. I mean, he's great at going after the passer, and he can do that from the outside, but that doesn't mean that he's your best defender, on the outside against teams that are going to run the football a lot. Yeah. Do some of the things like Jalen Hurts did today because there wasn't a ton of pressure. And this was a game that absolutely the Chiefs should have been getting tons of pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I feel better having talked to you, if not necessarily a ton better, about the Chiefs' defense. Thank you, as always, for being here for us, and we'll all make sure that we're following you on Twitter, @MattDerrick, and reading your work at ChiefsDigest.com. Won't we, everyone? Won't we? Yes, we will. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Josh. I'm relieved to be talking to you about a team that scored 6 times out of the 7 times it tried.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be a whole lot worse. I'll talk to you again next week.
Take care, my friend. Glad to see you back up going at it.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be having the privilege of talking to the Reverend Matt Derrick here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. That is presented by Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. We'll take a break here in just a second, but first, why don't we take this caller? He's been waiting on hold, and we're going to come back. We'll hear from Nick Sirianni, probably Jalen Hurts as well, then we'll wrap things up, and we will bring you tonight here on Sports Radio 810, Brady versus Belichick. Finally, Sunday Night Football tonight's going to be a certified club banger. That'll be coming up before too long. But first, let's go to Dan. Thanks for waiting on hold, Dan. What's on your mind?
Hey, Josh, how you doing? It was a great game by the offense, and the defense did some good things, forcing the field goals. And I have to ask you something, Josh. Why didn't that red flag should come out quicker upstairs, so Andy could get, get rid of that, touchdown. That would have been later on. But anyway, good game by the defense, and just, they didn't force no punts. We'll get it turned around. Take care of yourself, Josh.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'm going to do my very best. I got to need Dan's energy late in the show. That's good. I need a little shot, a little boost right there. Good stuff there from Dan. And yeah, look, the challenge flag, somebody in the booth has to see it. That's somebody's job. Somebody's job is to say, oh, can I get an angle on that before this play gets called up? Let's see what we can get here. And they didn't, which is, lucky that it didn't cost them anything. Because those choices and those mistakes can cost you points, can cost you games. In fact, I believe that some of the choices that Nick Sirianni made, if it didn't fully cost the Eagles a chance, if it didn't cost the Eagles a chance, good grief. I did it like Porky Pig. If it didn't cost the Eagles the game, it cost them a chance to be in the game late. Some of Nick Sirianni's choices. We'll hear what he had to say about some of those short field goals and the Eagles' loss whenever we come back here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by CBD American Shaman and Missouri Lottery.
You're listening to exclusive postgame coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Life is already full of surprises, but your tuition shouldn't be one of them. While education costs rise in the U.S. every year, University of Phoenix is committed to protecting you from rising tuition costs with our tuition guarantee. We lock in your tuition so you can count on fixed, affordable tuition from the moment you enroll to the day you graduate from your program. Learn more at phoenix.edu.
For 11 years, Breaking the Norm has presented the best and most uplifting stories in sports, entertainment, and business, and we wouldn't be here without our amazing partners and you, our faithful listeners. Your stories of life change, loving others, and inspiration keep us dedicated to making a difference in the world, one story at a time. Tune in Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM and Saturday mornings at 7 on Sports Radio 810 WHB for something good, something positive, and something real on Breaking the Norm.
Everyone knows Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. Did you know it's also time to save hundreds, even thousands on patio furniture, pool tables, shuffleboard, and more? You can beef up your entertainment area with couches, sectionals, and theater seating now on sale at Family Leisure. Make it a September to remember with special 810 listener pricing at Family Leisure. Spas, basketball goals, play sets, trampolines, everything for family and fun together on sale at Family Leisure. K10 in Ridgeview in Olathe.
913-888-7727.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-259-8642. 800-259-8642. 800-259-8642. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Sports Radio 810 is proud to be Kansas City's home for the National Football League.
Winds up, he throws a long pass, wide open Hill, catches the ball at the 22 of San Francisco. What a play by Mahomes!
From Monday night to Sunday night, and every game in between. Keep it right here on your exclusive home for the NFL, the NFL playoffs, and the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl.
Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Five receiver set. Kansas City looking to cash in. Shotgun. Mahomes fires. Touchdown. Tyreek Hill. And they make it look so easy. even when things might be a little bit out of sync, they find a way.
That's exactly the truth for the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and it was the case today as they were victorious over the Philadelphia Eagles 42-30. But a garbage time touchdown made that even look closer than it actually was for Philadelphia. Welcome back in to our final segment on today's Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. I am Joshua Brisco. Beers McFly hitting the buttons. Rudy Salazar producing from beyond and beyond the board. He's not like a ghost or anything. And it's time for us to go to the other side of the sideline and to hear from the Philadelphia Eagles head coach instead of the former one, as Andy Reid today got his 100th win with the Chiefs. He had over 100 wins in Philly, so he ends up being the first NFL head coach in NFL history to record 100 wins with two separate franchises. Very cool, and also cool that he got to do it against the Eagles, even though I would have preferred that he do it against the Ravens or the Chargers. It would have been better for the Chiefs this season, but good for the story and everything. But let's hear from Nick Sirianni. Before we get to him, though, I'll let you know that our opposing coach press conferences are brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf CarStar. CarStar, relax. They'll take it from here. Nick Sirianni, Eagles head coach, will take it from here.
First drive, Nick, can you explain what happened on the fourth down, deciding whether to go for it, and the timeout, and then the field goal?
Yeah, we went all the way down there. We had a really good drive. We ran out of time on the play clock on the one. I didn't get the call in quick enough, and so once we got to that, I thought it was important that we got points on the board at that particular time. I thought it'd just be too much of a momentum swing if they stopped us on 4th and 3, so I decided to kick the field goal.
And what was the conversation with the ref? Because if you're going to kick the field goal, there's no need to take the timeout.
Yep, I'll keep that conversation between us. But yeah, I'm not going to make an excuse about anything, and so I got to be better.
How about the offensive foul on J-Job on that touchdown? What was your conversation like there? Did you get an explanation for why that was called?
Yeah, they thought that he pushed him downfield and they thought it was DPI. And you know what? They got a tough job. The referees have a tough job. We got a tough job. Players have a tough job. They're trying to get it right. I know they're trying to get it right. They're trying to do their best to get it right. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. I'm not saying one way or the other. If they got that right, I'll keep my opinion to myself. But they got a tough job, just like all of us.
When you went through the decision right before the second half, when short pass to get a you didn't call timeout there.
Mm-hmm. That we do a ton of studying of all those situations throughout each week, and we felt like we could get a play off that was going to go out of bounds before that. So we wanted to save that timeout. All those times right there, when you can save a timeout right there, and I'll double down on that call. It didn't work. It didn't work that time, and he got a sack, and they got and it was a long thing. But I'll stick with that call all day because I've put myself in that position 1,000 times when I've watched it. So because of where we snapped that thing, if it got a little bit lower, then I would have clocked it or called a timeout. But to have that timeout right there when an NFL defense, what an NFL defense will do is if you don't have a timeout, play a sideline defense where now it's making it almost impossible to get to the sideline. So I stick with that call, I stand by that call. It didn't work, and I got to sit by that.
Do you feel like the rush play accounted for the poor control?
I don't, because we've run that play a bunch in my past, not just here in Philadelphia. We've run it a lot in Indianapolis and San Diego. When I was in Kansas City, that was our out-of-bounds play, and you know what? It didn't work this time.
Yeah, big picture, what's your assessment of this game? What's the primary emotion you walk away with?
Yeah, I mean, you're upset. You're furious that you go to 1-3. But a lot of good. We can also see that there's some things that they're to build on there. The self-inflicted wounds have to stop. And I know I sound the same, but it's still true. We gotta stop the self-inflicted wounds, putting ourselves in holes and with penalties. The guys did a good job. We won the turnover battle. Our defense took it away. We didn't give it away. They forced another fumble on special teams. So there's some good things obviously right there. We got to do things better both offensively and defensively, and special teams wise. There was one time we started inside the 15. So we have to use this tape and get better from it. My message was really never going to change, win or lose. That we got to take we got to make our corrections and get better from it. But there's a lot of guys that battled their tails off today, And there's a lot of guys that played good football today, and you're happy with that, but obviously you're never satisfied, and you're always upset when you lose.
Executing in red zone situations. What's been the problem with that? That was the case off in the San Francisco game, and it was also the case in this game here today.
Yeah, we had the one in San. I think we were 5 of 6 before this game here today, and we had the one in San Francisco where we weren't good enough on. And then today, 3 of 6 when you're playing a team like that, you got to convert there. And so it's the plays I'm calling. It's the lack of execution, but I'll always have it start with me. And when the plays don't work, that's on me. And so I got to call better plays. I got to put our guys in better positions to win. And everyone's going to look at themselves and on all those plays too and say, I could have done that better on this play, or I could have done this better on this play. It's a team. It's the greatest team sport there is. It starts with me. I got the plays that didn't work. That's on me. I got to come up with better scheme and put the guys in position to make a play.
When did you find out about rain, and how tough was it to adjust at the last minute?
I found out, a couple hours before the game. I think Jeff Stoutland and Shane Steichen just did a phenomenal job just getting everybody ready to go. And it's no secret, Jeff Stoutland, our offensive line coach, he's got everybody ready to play in all these different scenarios if different scenarios happen. Well, we were proposed with one of those scenarios today. I thought the offensive line battled. I thought they played really well, and that's just a tribute to Coach Stout of how good of a football coach he is and how, he's gotten the guys better as a whole with their fundamentals, and he mentally prepares them. And then just a tribute to the guys that stepped in and played. They really played good. All those guys. I got to watch the tape to tell you exactly how they played, but I thought they battled. They battled really hard. They played their tails off. They played hard. They played physical. We got a lot of warriors right there in that group. So I thought they did a good job in the circumstances that they were. I'm not going to discuss any. No, just a personal situation, and I'm just not going to discuss that right now.
You mentioned some of the self-inflicted stuff. The illegal man downfield stuff, that's kind of a chug pro between the quarterback getting out, the offensive line realizing. How do you kind of deal with it?
Well, they're calling it. The referees they're calling that pretty hard this year, and probably a little bit harder than they have in the past. And so we have to adjust, and we can't. And that starts with me. We got to adjust how we're blocking it. We got to adjust how we're teaching the blocking schemes to not allow the guy, and how we're reading it. So, or just don't call it. I mean, that's what we're going to have to do, because you obviously can't shoot yourself in the foot. So that's my fault. That's my. I got to get better at that. With that, it's not Andre's fault that he was downfield on that one, because the timing was pretty good. And the referees, I thought, did a good job of refereeing it.
A couple more guys.
Yeah, I mean, they had the PI on that I answered about, JJ, I think, from you, and then the illegal man downfield that I just answered, and the other one was the guy out of bounds. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I answered the first two. The last one right here, he ran out of room. I said the same thing with Jalen on the other one, that he's got to work a better release at the line of scrimmage. Devontae will be the first one to tell you that, to save the quarterback room. There was some hand fighting, some pushing. Like I said, referees have a tough job, and there was hand fighting on both sides. So I don't blame that on him. We just got to save room. That's a technique thing, and then my answer on the other two.
Last one, guys.
I'll answer yours too.
We know the Chiefs are a very good offense, but how do you think the defense will perform today?
Yeah, they got a lot of good players, and obviously, Mahomes is a really good player. He's an NFL MVP for a reason. Coach Reid is a really good play caller. Coach Pianami does a great job getting his guys ready. So, and then you see Kelsey and Hill. I mean, they got really good playmakers, and so it was a tough challenge for our defense today. You're always going to look when a team rushes for that many yards. You're always going to look at that and say we got to stop the run. because they didn't, on that. So that's going to always be the first emphasis. I obviously need to watch the tape on a lot of that. A lot of times I'm looking down at my call sheet too to see what I'm going to call next. But I'll have a better answer for you. But anytime you rush for that many yards, you know you're going to have to improve in that area. Go ahead. I'm going to add one more.
What did you think of Jalen's
response? I kind of talked to somebody in there. I just said that's one of the better quarterback performances I've seen, and I've been around a lot of good quarterbacks, with Phillip Rivers and Andrew Luck. I mean, he battled. He made good decisions with the football. He got out of trouble when there was trouble. He made good checks. He made good reads. I thought that's the best I've seen him in practice. That's the best I've seen him in a game since I've been here. So hats off to Jalen. He battled, and that's going to be important for us moving forward.
Philadelphia Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. That is an interesting sign-off there on Jalen Hurts. He played well today. He didn't play well enough to out-quarterback Patrick Mahomes, but that's an incredibly difficult thing to do. I mean, Justin Herbert was kind of close to being able to do that last week, and even that wasn't necessarily, they're not head-to-head. That's just a matter of, the situations that both of them were put in and everything. But it was a nice performance. I'm impressed by Jalen Hurts. I enjoy watching him play as well. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know if he's going to hit it or not. But I thought he played a good game today and took what a struggling Chiefs defense was giving him largely. I think Sirianni let him down by not letting him continue to run this offense on fourth down more often to keep them in the game longer earlier on. It is about as directly as a head coach, I think, can blunder up an otherwise good outing for an offense that was playing really good football at that time. Let's hear from Jalen Hurts real quick as we wrap up the show. Again, at 6:30 tonight here on Sports Radio 810. Coverage will begin for Buccaneers versus Patriots as Tom Brady and Bill Belichick go head-to-head for the first time. But first, here's Jalen Hurts, the Eagles quarterback, talk to the media after their loss to the Chiefs today.
Hey, John, on the first drive, when you guys lined up to go for fourth down, did you call the timeout to avoid the delay of game penalty?
Trying to get the ball snapped, get the ball snapped, ended up running out of time, so ended up using the timeout. I did call the timeout.
Jalen, you said that's probably the best game you've seen a quarterback play. Do you kind of feel like you've had the best game you've ever played?
Look, we lost. We lost the game. Got to do more. Got to do better. And this is what I'm gonna say. You got every opportunity to learn, right? Every opportunity, everything that you do, you learn from it. And we're clearly not there as a football team because we've lost. But we're this close. We're this close. And that's something that I believe. We have to continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to be 1% better every day. We've been doing it every day. Continue to clock in and buy into that and believe in that. And that's what it's going to take. And we're not a finished product. No player on this team is a finished product. But it's about believing in that and continue to grow and learn from everything that you do. We played a good football team out there. Today. A team that many say is generationally one of the best. And great quarterback, great players, all that. We got great players too. And we got to put it together, and we will. We're not a finished product.
Why do you think you're close, and what do you think needs to change?
I think we're close because everything we do, we control it. We control the penalties. We control the little things. And it's all magnifying in games against good football teams in which we've played good football teams to this point every game. And it all is magnified. So it's to us, it's on us. It's on us to execute and do the things we need to do. It's on us to, a lack of commitment, never question that about anybody. A lack of effort, I never question it about anybody because we're going to fight. We're just this close to putting it together.
What are you talking about when you're a young team
and you're going through growing pains on both sides of the ball, but you're also very competitive, want to win. How do you, as a team, balance that? Like, is it more important to just grow and learn every day, or even in a loss, can you be acceptable with some of that?
The only thing on my mind is winning. Only thing on my mind. That's everybody's mentality. There are no moral victories.
But you're emphasizing growth, so if you guys, you've lost 3 in a row, if you lose games, can you still be at least encouraged by anything you're seeing?
Is the glass half empty or half full?
That's what I'm asking.
Every opportunity is an opportunity to grow. We've learned from week 1, we've learned from week 2, we've learned from week 3, and we'll learn from this game too. And we'll go clock in this week, turn it up a little notch in terms of our preparation, and try and go be the good Panthers football team.
Well, Jalen, if the penalties were a problem the first 3 weeks, and then you had 3 touchdowns taken off the fourth day because of penalties, how much are you guys learning there if it's not getting fixed?
Hey, Rome wasn't built overnight. Take time, but I believe.
What happened on?
There's Jalen Hurts, all the time we have for him here today on Sports Radio 810 WHB. As we wrap up the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Reminder, 42 points means 42% off all day tomorrow at CBD American Shaman. So go get yourself an incredible deal there. And if you missed any of the show, maybe you missed Matt Derrick, maybe you missed some callers, maybe you missed the Open, you missed any of the press conferences, it'll all be podcasted up at 810WHB.com, the additional programming section and the 810 mobile app, or you can get it on the Almost Entirely Sports podcast feed. We'll put it up there as well.